Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the Hawaiiverse Podcast, a podcast that supports local by calling everyone auntie, uncle, brother, and sister when you forget their names. I'm your host, Kamaka Dias, and don't forget to head to Hawaiiverse.com to buy local products from local businesses and help us in our mission of supporting local. Before you stop this episode, because you hear a girl's voice and not Kamaka's, my name is actually Kanoelehua Robinson, and I'll be your special guest host today for our special 1-year anniversary episode. For the special celebration, let's introduce our guest. Our guest is a Hilo boy, proud Kula Kaiapuni student, 2016 UH Mānoa grad, returned Peace Corps volunteer, the crazy guy that paid off $53,757 worth of student debt in 11 months, that guy you see on the news every so often, and of course, the host of Hawaiiverse and the Hawaiiverse Podcast. His name is Kamaka Dias. Aloha, Kamaka. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing? I'm
good. I felt like I was just listening to a Hawaiian Airlines flight attendant telling people to get into their seat and buckle up.
That's my other job. We don't have to talk about that right now.
Yeah.
So how did you get here?
This is my podcast, actually. I just happened to be here and I got hijacked by my little sister.
Oh, yes. Another preface. I'm actually Kamaka's younger sister. We have two other siblings.
We have five. I have 5 siblings. You have four siblings.
Yeah, I'm not that great at math.
We're half siblings because my parents got divorced when I was young, and then my mom and stepdad had Kanoelehua and my little brother Ku, but we all grew up together. We all consider ourselves just regular siblings.
It's kind of hard to explain because we have different last names, but I wouldn't consider ourselves half siblings. Like, we're not half a sibling. Mm-hmm. We're very much grew up in the same house type of thing, had a great childhood.
Yeah.
And segueing into that, how about we start with the 3 famous questions. Where are you from? Where are you grad? And what was it like growing up?
Wow. So I love those questions. Great questions. Whoever came up with those questions, amazing.
They're okay. They're like
so amazing. Like very in-depth, very profound questions. I love it. Right. Okay, well, so where are you from? Where are you grad? What was it like right now? Okay. I'm from Hilo, Hawaii, as you all may know, and I graduated from Kaiser High School technically on Oahu, but I went to Hawaiian Immersion school my whole entire life before that. I went to Punana for preschool. It's a Hawaiian Immersion preschool in Hilo. Then I went to Ka'umekeka'el, which is a Hawaiian Immersion elementary school in Keaukaha. And then I went to Kekula o Navajo o Kalani o Pu'u in Kea'au, all on the Big Island. And then my senior year of high school, I moved to Kaiser here on Oahu to play sports. I played sports all my life, so growing up it was just sports. From when I was 6 years old, I played soccer on my first soccer team with my best friend Chad, Charizard, fire spins. And from that point on, I was just addicted to sports. I eventually got into football because my dad was a football player, played for Keaukaha Warriors. I was a peewee quarterback, played against John Ursua, that scrub. He always broke our ankles and scored so many touchdowns on us. So if you're watching this, John, just remember I never forgave you. So I ended up wanting to play football in college, so I ended up training on Oahu the summer of my junior year with the UH kicker. I played kicker and receiver since I was a soccer player and I was fast. And then when I was doing that, I was just training at Kaiser High School because my dad graduated from Kaiser, so he connected me with the Kaiser coaches. And they were just moving up to the red division, which was like the big division with Kahuku, Farrington, like all the heavy hitters. So it would be a good opportunity for, exposure. Because on the Big Island, it's hard to get exposure. And Hilo High wasn't good back then like it was now. I don't think we barely won too many games. And when I was at Navajo Kalani Pu'u, we didn't have a sports team. So we always had to drive all the way to Hilo and go late to practice because our school ended late. And then play with the sports teams in Hilo High. So I ended up just moving to Kaiser like 2 weeks before school started. It wasn't my plan, but the people were like, yeah, you should just stay here. And I ended up loving it. I was actually supposed to go back to Hilo for the soccer season. You weren't supposed to do that, but that was the plan because all my best friends played soccer in Hilo. So the plan was just to play football at Kaiser, go back to Hilo for soccer season. It's senior season, you know, it's like the big season with all the boys. But I ended up just staying in Kaiser, and we got second place in states, you know. I don't know if it's a coincidence is that Kaiser High School got to the farthest they've ever been.
It might have been a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah, but so I ended up just staying in Kaiser. I was going to go to Washington State University after I graduated from Kaiser. But I was alone. I moved here by myself, just living with my auntie. So I didn't really know what I was doing. I talked to my counselors, and they helped me apply to like Oregon, Washington State University, Eastern Oregon. I wanted to go over there because I visited that area before. And then when school was about to start, I was already accepted to Washington State. I had a T-shirt. My mom told me, Kamaka, you got to pay like $50,000. And I'm like, wait, what? And I didn't do any financial aid, didn't do any scholarships, nothing. Because I just didn't know, you know. That's one thing that sometimes we're not taught in school, just financial literacy and just stuff like that. Especially because I was on my own. And I didn't ask for help. I just wasn't sure. And then, again, like a couple weeks before the semester started, I had an auntie that worked at UH. She got me into UH super quickly. I stayed at UH, and I was there for 5 years, super senior. And yeah, but I guess we'll talk more about everything else. But childhood was good. Growing up in Hilo, just playing sports, hanging out with my friends.
Having an amazing little sister.
I actually don't remember that part, which is weird.
I do.
I don't know. Oh, I remember Cool. Cool was my favorite little sibling. No.
Who was our favorite little sister?
I think we're 8 years apart. I'm 29.
I'm 22.
7.
Yeah.
7 years apart. So
it's funny because like I feel like we're probably the closest. I mean, me and my sister, but we're probably the most similar, which is kind of funny because the age difference is so big. But
yeah, I think we're both goofy and
witty, and
maybe,
I don't know.
Yeah,
kind of
tall
funny
and skinny.
Oh, what else? Come on,
models.
Keep going.
So a lot of people think Kanoe is the model of the family, but really, I try to convince people that I'm the model of the family.
Kamaka is up on me for how many times he's been on the news.
Oh yeah, so. I've definitely got you beat on that.
But I'll come back. Markian, if you're watching this, let me know when you want to film your next video.
You're playing the long game.
I'll be available.
You're playing the long game. Yeah. But yeah, just to finish up on my childhood, I had a great childhood. I loved the childhood so much. I can't imagine raising my kids anywhere else but Hawaii, just with the culture. Grew up speaking Hawaiian. My dad only speaks Hawaiian to us. That's why we were in Hawaiian Immersion school. He's not even Hawaiian, actually, which is crazy. I just thought he was Hawaiian because he looks Hawaiian. He's like Portuguese, Japanese.
I didn't even know he wasn't Hawaiian.
Yeah, and then our mom, she looks more Haole, but she's like Hawaiian, Korean. And this is because the color of the skin, right? So growing up, I just assumed that I got my Hawaiian from my dad's side, and then in high school, I'm just like, wait, what? We're Hawaiian from mom?
Yeah,
that's crazy because they both speak Hawaiian too. That's kind of crazy to realize that.
Yeah, a lot of identity issues. I know Anuhea talked about it a little bit about her.
Oh, you watched the podcast?
Oh yes, I do watch. I am a great fan of this podcast. I love the podcast. Anuhea, if you're listening to this, I loved your podcast episode. Anyway, what I was saying before Kamaka interrupted me.
Sorry about that, guys.
Just like being mixed, you know, like I would say like a lot of identity issues, right? Do you feel like you had that growing up with like, you know, your dad's not Hawaiian by blood. Like koko is like such a controversial subject here in Hawaii, but like, you know, growing up Hawaiian, because I kind of just realized this recently that you're actually predominantly Japanese, but you would consider yourself Hawaiian over anything else. Yeah,
I think a lot of people kind of gravitate towards the culture they're raised in. Because so my real last name should actually be Sonora, because my dad is a Sonora. He wasn't raised with his dad. He was adopted by his stepdad, and that's why we're Dias. It's Portuguese last name. So he didn't grow up. He says he was born Japanese but raised by Portuguese. That's why we talk so much. So we were, and then he got into Hawaiian after graduating high school. He started reading the Hawaiian Bible, going to a Hawaiian church, took classes in Olelo, Hawaii, And so he decided he wanted to teach us Hawaiian. And that was, this is the time of like the Hawaiian Renaissance. And he just thought it was important for us to learn Hawaiian. And then, what was the question? Sorry, it's weird being on this side.
No, I know. It's just kind of funny because like he's explaining his life story, but I kind of know all of it, So I'm just kind of like patronizing him right now. But no, never mind. Back to like what you were talking about, where you grad. Actually, just kind of like steering off of what you were saying. So because you went to Punana, you went to Kamaka Dias, you went to Navajo, and you graduated from Kaiser, what do you feel like, which school do you feel most proud of or most connected to?
Definitely Navajo Colonial Pu'u. I mean, even the Keaukaha days, doing the Makahiki games, like playing with the kids, like all our friends over there, just going right from Keaukaha to football practice right over there, and then going to Navajo. These classes are small, Hawaiian Immersion schools weren't huge back in the day. I had 100 students from kindergarten to 12th grade. So my class was like, it started off maybe 20 something people in the 7th grade, and then it just dwindles down, By the time you're a senior, sometimes you only have like 10 people in your class. But everyone was super tight. It was super cool. So, how a lot of times you have high schools and then you go to different classes to different, and you have classes with different students. For us, it was just, you had a classroom, everybody would stay in the same class, the teachers would come to you, or once in a while you'd go to a different teacher's class that maybe they taught epichem, which was science. So you'd go to that, and then recess was like, you go outside, you just get all sweaty, play football, take your slippers off. Yeah, you go to the gym, you take your uniform off, put a regular t-shirt, you get back to class all sweaty. And that was just
and there's no AC.
And there was no AC. But that's how it was in those schools. So, I mean, I definitely feel more connected to the people there. I mean, I consider all of them my ohana, even though I don't see a lot of them these days.
I feel like also growing up in those small classes, I feel like it kind of prepares you for the real life of how to deal with people, because you can't have drama with your classmates. There's only 10 people in the class, So I feel like smaller like environments like that might help you later in life too.
Yeah, I think that's just a Hawaii thing too, where like Mark Healy said, it's less anonymous over here, where you can do people wrong because everyone's gonna know, right? Everyone knows an auntie or an uncle or a cousin of somebody. So if you act up, you're gonna get lickings, So you have to be respectful, and especially in the Hawaiian Immersion schools, their core values, core Hawaiian values, ho'ihi, respect, kuleana, responsibility, like just doing your work, like you cannot slack, like you're having a good lavena attitude when you're doing everything, if you're gonna hula and you have a bad attitude, then you have to sit on the side. You're not even allowed to do that, but I was a kolohe kid. I was rascal. I mean, I had good grades, but all the Hawaiian stuff I just wasn't into. I just and I guess that's where I could feel a little bit of an identity crisis, where I just wanted, like, grass is always greener, right? I wanted to do all the things that everybody else was doing. I wanted to travel outside of Hawaii, play sports, hang out with all my friends outside of the Hawaiian Immersion School. I didn't want to go to the lo'i. I didn't want to prepare food. I didn't want to have to talk Hawaiian all the time. Especially going outside of the school and kind of knowing, like, oh, that's the Hawaiian Immersion kid. Like, thinking that people were thinking, oh, we're weird or we're different because we're speaking Hawaiian, we're not learning English. Maybe they don't speak English very well. So all those things are going through our mind. And like, I remember being at grocery stores growing up and our dad speaking Hawaiian to us, to me and Mike and Lei. And then I'd be like so ashamed to respond because I didn't want people to look at us or hear us speaking. But it's so cool how it changed these days. Right now, it's like such a proud thing to speak Hawaiian, and you say it with your chest out.
I know. I feel like until you leave or you go somewhere where it's not around, you appreciate it way more. Like that's kind of how I felt in college when, I also went to Kamaka Dias, I went to Punana, and then in 6th grade I moved to Kamehameha schools, and there were my classmates from Kamaka Dias who eventually moved to Kamehameha, but I didn't really have people to speak Hawaiian to or really like dive in with.
Yeah, because you never went to a real Hawaiian school.
To any Kamehameha grads, if you feel like canceling Kamaka now's your chance. Right there, there's a quote, TMZ, scandal.
No, okay, let me just clear this up real quick, okay, before. Okay, what people get confused by is Kamehameha is a school for Hawaiians. Hawaiian Immersion schools like Navajo is a Hawaiian school. Like it's a Hawaiian Immersion school.
Yeah,
like, everything is done in Hawaiian. Math is in Hawaiian. Science is in Hawaiian. PE is in Hawaiian. Everything is in Hawaiian. If you speak English, it's an English class, and you have to wear like a bracelet, like a la'i, like a tea leaf bracelet, or like a hat. That's the only way we could speak
like the
English.
Stick, like the magic stick.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to clarify that. So I'm only joking. Like Kamehameha is a great school for, I love what they're doing.
Right.
And they have, it's all like Hawaiian culture based, right? But a lot of times it's like, oh, Kamehameha is a Hawaiian school. No, Kamehameha is a school for Hawaiians. You could have a drop of Hawaiian in your pinky and you can go there.
Actually, there's a small tangent, but when I left, I know it's probably different on each campus because I went to the Hawaii Island campus, but I kind of felt like after I graduated, because I went to a Christian university after, I was like, I feel like Kamehameha was kind of like a Christian high school more than it was like a Hawaiian high school. Not to like invalidate my experience. I learned so much about Hawaiian history when I was there. Mahalo kumukeli'i for that. And I had great kumu when I was at Kamehameha, but it was very much kind of eye-opening when I moved to Christian university, like, oh, this is actually really familiar to me. Because I never thought, no one ever says, Kamehameha is a Christian school, It is, but
you religion, like
yeah,
Hawaiian
like
religion.
we have Ekalesia, like we have Bible study, stuff like that. What is it?
You guys sing Ho'onani?
Yeah, we sing Ho'onani in all like 8 voice parts. We didn't have song contest though, so I didn't really get to pop off. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, the experience of a Kula Kaiapuni kid and like stepping off into the real world, it's a very unique experience. And you saying that you were ashamed to speak Hawaiian to your dad, even I was ashamed to speak Hawaiian to your dad. Like
my dad speaks Hawaiian to anybody, even if you don't speak Hawaiian.
Yeah, like there's one time we were at our brother's house and Uncle Mike was like speaking, my boyfriend Malu, he's super Hawaiian, but he doesn't speak a word. And Uncle Mike was just like asking him questions and no one was around to like really tell him like, oh, Malu doesn't speak.
He's like, no,
he's like, oh, pehea, mama. And Malu's like, oh, sorry, Uncle, I don't speak. And we were just like, oh, your uncle, he doesn't speak Hawaiian. Yeah. And it's intimidating. Even I, like, sometimes I'm sweating right now, like, thinking of it.
Just getting triggered, just thinking of that.
Oh, how do I speak Hawaiian?
That's the way you feel about that. So there's always levels, right? It's how I feel when, like, someone like Kumu Hiapo was talking to us, this really, like, intimidating teacher.
And you have the Navajo teachers, I'm scared.
Yeah, so the Navajo, like, just for some context, Navajo is, like, the NFL of football.
Pinnacle.
Yeah, it's like there's people that play in the Canadian League, maybe Arena League for football, or like in basketball. Sorry, I'm also going to use sports references. Like the G League, and then Navajo is like the NBA.
Yeah.
It's not just trying to flex my school, but it was like
it's
it's like the school.
It is a flex.
Like when people say here you go to Navajo, like that's the top Hawaiian immersion school because that's just how they started. Like they started from Punana, and then they created grades in every single year because that's how Hawaiian language was gonna be perpetuated and revived. So it just happened to be Navajo on the Big Island. How do you feel about Big Island versus Hawaii Island? Because that's a new thing that came out in the last decade maybe.
Yeah, it's weird because like I don't have a problem with it because it's something that I just grown up with, and I feel like Hawaiians nowadays have the need or like pressure to prove certain things, like, and that's amazing. Like I think we should be, changing all the Hawaiian. Sandy's is one of them. It's actually Avamalu. So things like that, like changing. Right. But I feel like it's more of a nostalgic thing for me. Like,
I always say Big Island.
I personally don't have beef with it. Like if we want to call Big Island, Hawaii Island.
But if you think about it, you're still saying it in English, Hawaii Island. Yeah. If you want to say the Hawaiian name, you say Moko Keawe. You say Moko Keawe, right?
Yeah.
So, I have no problem with it. But like I hear people saying Hawaii Island, and I always say Big Island because that's just what I grew up saying.
Yeah.
And that feels like home to me. Big Island. We from the big island, and we love our land.
B-I-G-I.
Exactly, right?
B-I-N-G.
Yeah.
Did I even say that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. But that's just a side
I feel
bar.
like Big Island is also like pigeon style kind of way of saying it.
Big
like
Island.
Big Island, and there's Hawaii Island, Hawaii Pona'i, you know?
Yeah. So I don't know. Just trying to let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah. So kind of going back to, you know, like you talk a lot about sports. Kamaka loves sports, if you haven't already picked up. Loves football.
Saints.
Ever since football season started, none of us have heard or seen Kamaka other than on the podcast. So
do I still have a girlfriend?
I don't know. Sierra? Is she in here?
Are we still together? Sure.
She's actually right there.
We broke up at the beginning of football season.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm single. At least I'm single. We're single on
They're
Sundays.
postponed. They're on the off season.
Yeah, off season.
But yeah, kind of talking about your sports career, and like you always talk about how you learned so much from sports and you wanted to go to college to be a professional athlete. That's
Every
kind of
kid's
crazy.
dream.
And now you're kind of you're a podcast host. So like, did you ever think, you know, when you started going to high school and started playing these sports, you were like, I'm gonna be an athlete when I grow up. Did you ever think you would get to where you are right now?
I did not think I'd be here. I had no idea what I was gonna do. I think at one point I wanted to be a radiologist because I got hurt a lot from playing sports, and I would always have to go get X-rays and stuff like that. So I figured, that's kind of cool to be able to do that. I remember I dislocated my pinky. Look away if you don't want to see this. I don't know if you can see this in the camera. Dislocated my pinky like this, and I was stuck like this for a couple hours because of the X-ray machine was broken. But I thought being a radiologist would be cool. Our mom is a nurse, so I thought being a nurse would be cool because I love helping people. You get to wear the scrubs as well.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, I wanted to be a nurse. I used to volunteer at Hale Anoinui when mom was working there. And then I don't know. I think it would be different because like our dad put us in sports, or our family put us in sports, but they never pushed it. Like they never forced us to do it. So I didn't really have that. I don't think I was as competitive as I am now. So I don't have I didn't realize how athletic I am. I'm not saying like I'm a great athlete, but I think I realized I'm a lot more athletic than I thought I was growing up. And just even the height, like I'm 6 foot, like that's pretty good height for playing sports. So I just didn't really realize what I was capable of back then. I think I was just doing it because I was good at it, but I don't think I reached my ceiling in sports until after, like where I had that mindset, like that Kobe mentality, like I'm gonna be better than you. Like this episode is brought to you by Silly.com. Based in Maui, Hawaii, Silly.com believes psychedelic medicine is the future of mental health. For the millions of people worldwide struggling with mental illness, access to therapeutic plant medicine is a ray of hope. Silly.com is here to share these therapies with the world. Because in the current medical health landscape, certain therapies are not working and the problem is only getting worse. They believe that the plant got it right. That is why Silly.com is focused on natural psychedelic therapies that create better, safer treatments and will help speed up the FDA approval and legalization process so people can get more effective help faster. They call this the new standard of pharma. Mahalo to Silly.com for supporting the podcast, and check them out on their website. That's psly.com. I would feel bad when I would like hit somebody or like I didn't. Yeah, like I guess I was just too nice. But now I'm just like killer. Like I just wish I had that. I wish I had that mentality when I was young, because I still think I could have at least gone to like a D2 school at the least. Right. Especially as a kicker, I could probably play for like a junk Division 1 team. But
aren't you glad you didn't really go into that?
No, yeah. When people ask about regrets, I'm so happy. I never have any regrets. I wouldn't change anything because I love where I am today. Like if I played sports in college, I probably wouldn't have studied abroad. If I didn't study abroad, I probably wouldn't have learned Spanish. I wouldn't have learned about the Peace Corps. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be in the Peace Corps. If I didn't do the Peace Corps, I wouldn't have done the race to 50K. Right. If I didn't do the race to 50K, I wouldn't have done Hawaii. Exactly. So I think everything happens for a reason, and like I wouldn't change anything. But yeah, I love sports, and just the lessons that I've learned from it. I think it teaches you so much, like resiliency, really. And I see like our little brother. I don't even think he's gonna watch this, so but like you can just see the difference between him. Like when he was growing up, like he'd get frustrated a lot more. Like he could not handle pressure.
My experience, I was just talking about this. Like I didn't really...
Cool's great. We all love you. Cool.
Okay.
He's like, the best.
He's a teddy bear.
Well, growing up.
Yeah. I feel like because our parents, by the time like Kamaka and Lei and Micah all graduated, it was just me and Cool left in the house, and we
were on Oahu.
Yeah, they were kind of tired at that time, I think. I don't think they really wanted to invest in like, oh, we got to take the kids to sports. So they didn't really push it on us because they knew that Kamaka, Micah, and Lei were the athletic ones. So me and
Micah
Cool,
and Lei? Really?
Well, Lei was good at volleyball. Lei
was good at playing soccer growing up, but she didn't continue it.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I was like, not joking, like the golden child of the family. Like they paid for all my trips. Like everybody would come to my games.
Yeah,
like,
Kamaka was good.
I would get the best shoes, whatever, and like even if they couldn't afford it, they'd somehow...
I think he took it the most seriously too. That's why.
I think because I was just so involved in like all the all-star teams, and like then went to high school, and then
See, like because I didn't do sports, I didn't really grow up with that mindset, like that discipline of like willpower.
Getting up in the morning.
For example, like if physically I don't want to do something, I won't do it. Like,
you're so lazy.
I'm just
like wash your dish, your single fork in the sink, Kanoe.
Okay, that was like a really long time ago, Mama. You don't have to bring it up right now on the podcast in front of all of my friends.
I'm just letting it soak.
Sound
like a Mormon.
It has to soak. Like sometimes the oil needs to get off of the fork, and you gotta soak it. Gosh. Okay. Anyway, what I was saying before Kamaka started bullying me on the podcast, I just didn't have like that mental drive of like, Kanoe, keep running, keep doing it. It was me. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. Like I'm not gonna die if I stop running. I might as well just stop. You know.
Yeah. See, I was opposite, where it's like you're tired, you want to give up, don't stop, just keep going. Yeah. And especially because if you would, then you'd get yelled at by your coach. So
see, I
that's
didn't
why. Yeah, exactly. You guys had it easy. You guys did.
I would say so. But because of that, I also was investing more in like writing and more of like video and film. I really love to make videos and
nerd. I'm joking.
I'm gonna walk out right now. Thank you guys for having me. But yeah, and Cool used to do robotics. I remember. Sorry, this is like a really funny tangent, but. When Cool used to play volleyball, it was the funniest thing because he'd be standing there like this, and the ball would come right here, and he'd be like, just watch it fall.
Slow motion.
We're like, Cool, run!
It sucked for Cool because he grew up with you and Lei, with like two older sisters, so he didn't have any...
We were really mean.
Yeah, and you guys bullied him. We kind of all did, like... Because he was the youngest. We were kind of tough on him.
Yeah, we're just...
he was very sensitive.
This is a therapy session for Cool. He's not in here. He's going to find out later what we're talking about.
Sorry, Cool. But, so he didn't have older brothers to, throw a football, kick a soccer ball, shoot a basketball. So
and our parents worked a lot. They were, like, hardly ever home.
Mom, she went to school, back to school after having 5 kids to get her RN license.
What a boss. What a girl boss.
That's crazy. While taking us to sports and, like... picking us up, making food for us.
She had to drive to Cal for 10 years or something.
Yeah.
Some crazy, I don't know.
Yeah. And then Dad just working so hard all the time, different jobs, picking us up from school, taking us to the bus. I remember sometimes we'd be late to go to the bus stop, and we'd try to cut off the bus leaving the Prince Kuhio Plaza. Like, oh, wait. Because if you miss the bus, you got to drive all the way to Cal.
Yeah.
That's so far.
And it was at the mall, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a normal bus, like a charter. It was like, we got to take the hele on. You don't know who's going to be on the bus that day.
Public transportation. It wasn't like Kamehameha. They have their own
That's why
their
I'm
home bus.
So thankful, so thankful for my education.
We was on with the aunties and uncles going to Pahoa.
Well, but, I mean, it made you who you are today. Would you complain?
No, I loved it, yeah.
Be grateful. Anyway, going back to what we were actually supposed to be talking about. Actually, we can talk about anything. This is your podcast.
It is my podcast, yeah.
But I actually do want to talk about your study abroad experience. So actually, tell us about where you went and how long you went.
I went to Sevilla in Spain. I was there for 3 months. I like to say estudié en España por 3 meses. In Sevilla.
Sí.
Yeah. I went to Barcelona.
Muy bueno.
Vale. Yeah. Qué guay. So at one point in college, I didn't really know what I was doing. I just was taking classes, and I didn't party or drink or anything. I don't know really why I don't.
No. Just kidding.
I don't know why I don't really remember that, but at some point I took a Spanish class because I I think people would tell me like, oh, you speak Hawaiian, you can learn languages so easily. But, and I was like, well, kind of not really, because I explained it to them like this. Like, do you remember a time when you didn't speak English? That's how Hawaiian was for me. So I feel like I didn't really learn Hawaiian. I just grew up speaking it. It was just innate.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, like, I wanted to challenge myself and be like, well, okay, let's see. I mean, you do have a better mental capacity because you know multiple languages. But I wanted to be like, okay, well, I want to learn a language, because I never actually learned a language, you know. I mean, we did learn a lot more, like, advanced Hawaiian in Hawaiian Immersion School. But I wanted to learn Spanish because I thought that was just a cool language. So in my Spanish class, somebody came in and they talked about studying abroad, and I never left Hawaii. I've traveled for soccer domestically, as the flight attendants would say. And then, so I ended up just going for it and just going to Sevilla for 3 months. I didn't know what to expect. I just fell in love with the culture, the language, the freedom that we had as like students there. You live with a host family. I had a roommate. Shout out to you, Carlos, from Puerto Rico.
Carlos.
And then it was so cool just being in that environment in a new country. Everything was just so new. I remember the first day there looks totally different than when you leave. Like, I don't know if that ever happens. So you get to a place and you're just like, this is so foreign. Like, you see things differently. And by the time you left, you're like, I remember looking at this place. Yeah. I had a totally different image in my head of this place. Like
an out-of-body kind of like existential, like, whoa, what the heck is going on?
It's so weird how that happened. So that was my first time, like, experience, like, different cultures. I mean, we live in Hawaii, which it's a melting pot, right? Well, we're used to, you know, a lot of diversity here. But to be somewhere where nobody speaks the language you speak, it was totally different. And it was cool. I was like, it made me excited to try to learn their language, you know, like, I want to try to speak with them because, one, I want to look cool, and I just think it's a respectful thing, right?
Right.
So I did that, and it was so amazing. And the weekends we got to travel to other places. I went to Portugal, I went to France, went to Morocco. We had like a fake wedding there. I think I might technically still be married in Morocco. I don't know if it was fake or not.
Drama.
Yeah.
Sierra is married.
So yeah, Spain was just, I caught the travel bug. I loved it. And that's when I learned about the Peace Corps, because my resident director, he was also in the Peace Corps in Micronesia, and, you know, he met his wife over there. It just sounded like such a cool experience. So I remember going home that day. I wasn't even in the conversation. I remember him just talking to some students about it while we were going on a trip somewhere. So I went home, went on the laptop, looked up Peace Corps, watched the video, and inside I was like, I think this is what I want to do. Like, you can help people, you can travel, you can learn a new language, you can challenge yourself. And I just thought that would be so cool to do. So after studying abroad in Spain, I came back to Manoa to finish up my super senior year, or I guess start my senior year. And then I wanted to study abroad to finish my certificate in Spanish. So I studied abroad in the summer in Mendoza, Argentina. And that was another great experience because my Spanish level was way high. I was taking Spanish classes in the University de Cuyo.
So it was easier then to kind of, would you say?
It was easier because like I was like the hiapo. I was like the older sibling in that sense, because I already studied abroad before, so I could. But it was crazy because I was expecting the same experience where everybody's gonna be close, like we're all gonna do the same things, and that's the thing when you compare things, right? You have these expectations. But when we got there, it was a totally different setup. Like everybody lived way further apart. You had to catch buses to school, where in Spain we could just walk to school. So it's totally different. I remember in Argentina too. Luckily, I could speak Spanish better and I could hold my own. We went out at night, and the European culture, like in Spain, it's crazy. Like they go out at like 2 a.m. Like that's when people are coming back, or when places shut down. So you leave the clubs at like 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. It's crazy. And like,
you say you never drink or anything.
I don't.
Partying in Argentina?
I would eat the food at they had like food trucks at outside at late at night, and that was cool. But the culture was just totally different. And then I went to Argentina. We went out one time. I was catching the bus back home. I don't know what time it was. It was like past midnight. I think I ended up falling asleep on the bus. I missed my stop. I woke up. We already passed all the stops, and he's like, "Whoa, this is the last." The bus driver told me it's the last stop. Like, I can't turn back. So I ended up going all the way outside of the city to the bus stop, the bus like area, whatever, the office. And he's like, I'll call you a taxi.
That's so nice.
But it's like 2:00 in the morning, and like I guess my host mom thinks I'm already sleeping.
Oh.
So he just leaves me out there because I was just waiting on the street. And over there in other countries, you know how we have stray cats?
Yeah.
In a lot of other countries, there's stray dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Madagascar. They don't treat dogs the same we do in America.
They're mean to
like
them.
they'll kick dogs and like they see them as dirty.
Yeah.
So over there, there's stray dogs. So I was just sitting outside. It was cold because it was winter there too. Just kind of crouched on this curb on the sidewalk, just with these stray dogs surrounding me. I'm like, oh, this is so sketch. And then eventually the taxi comes. I had to pay I don't know how much to get back to my I think it was Godoy Cruz. That's the name of the street. Or something like that. And in the morning, I told my host mom like the story, and she's like, "What? That's so crazy!" And
that's insane.
But I guess that prepared me for the Peace Corps, just like being in those situations, having to figure it out. But yeah, Argentina was so cool. It was very outdoors. We got to hike the Andes. I got to ride a horse.
Wow.
Over the Andes mountain, it was just a different experience because my Spanish level is higher, so I got to have like real conversations. I remember watching basketball with my host mom and host dad and just speaking Spanish to them, but actually having like a conversation, not so much just like the basic kind with my when I was in Spain, where I would just do real basic, just
small
like
talk.
Just kind of like comments or like me encantó arroz con leche, like just like small stuff like that, where I could just have like full conversations with my host mom in Argentina, and we talk about like more deeper things,
like meaningful conversations.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was my study abroad experience. So I loved traveling after that.
Yeah, and I think it's such a huge thing for a Hawaii person to get out and see the world. I feel like a lot of the times living in Hawaii, it's such a bubble, and a lot of kids here, especially, I think I was one of them too. I think a lot of us feel like we can't leave, everything we need is here. Like, it seems impossible almost to leave, because even going to the mainland, like the closest flight is probably like 5 hours, maybe 4.5 if you're lucky.
Yeah, we're isolated.
Yeah.
Here.
So I think, even you going away to study abroad inspired me to study abroad, and I went my sophomore year to South Africa, and
I was in Madagascar.
Yeah, actually, and we can go more into that after, but that was the most awesome experience. Like, I wish I could do it again in a heartbeat. Like, I wish I could have gone in my junior year to go study abroad, because when you step foot in someone else's culture, that is very, very eye-opening. Like, I've never in my life felt like a haole.
Foreigner,
Yeah, and like in Hawaii, you're so comfortable, and like you see tourists and you're like, oh my gosh. Sometimes it's just like exhausting, like, oh, why are you, like, there's so much problems here, and you just feel like a level of resentment until you visit someone else's culture you're that haole.
I wrote about that in my book right over here.
Oh, So Far by Kamaka Dias. You can buy it on Amazon. Support local. But yeah, that was a crazy experience. And even when I went to go visit Madagascar after I was finished studying abroad, we went to like this market, and these group of guys were following. I don't look very Hawaiian. I feel like, I don't know, I look more fair skinned, like Asian features, I would say, I don't know. But these group of grown men were like following me in my ears, and I was trying not to look at them, and they were calling, what is the word?
Vaza.
They kept saying vaza, vaza, or like in my face, and I was kind of scared.
That was next level. It's like, that's how it was in Madagascar. They would like point stuff out, like vaza, vaza, like haole. Imagine like being over here and we're just calling tourists haole, haole, haole,
in my
haole,
face, like this
haole.
far away.
Yeah.
Kamaka had to like defend me, and I don't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'll go off on people in Malagasy.
Look at me, Madagascar. But yeah, that was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
What would you say did you appreciate your experience more in Argentina and Spain? Like, what do you feel like you missed the most? I would say.
I like them both equally. I think what I've learned as I got to know her is not to compare, because every experience is just so different.
Right.
Your experience compared to somebody else's. Your experience with doing something versus something else. Because if you're gonna compare it to something that was just amazing, then I feel like nothing's gonna meet that expectation sometimes. So I think you just have to look at it as different and hold on to the good things. And even if there is bad things, learn from it. But that's how it's almost like compartmentalizing my experiences, where it's like, I loved it for this reason. That's like when people ask me on the podcast, who was your favorite guest?
Who's your favorite sibling? It's really hard to answer, you know.
Yeah, see, I was gonna answer, but now I'm not because of that reason. But exactly. Yeah, it's like, it's hard to say because there are things about every person, every experience that I've had that I like and I don't like, you know. And just even like if I don't like something about some place or some reason, like that doesn't define that experience or that person.
It's its own unique thing.
So I think I just take things as they are. And I see it as individual things that are all part of the collective.
Yeah, that's exactly what I tell people when they're like, Kanoe, who's your favorite brother? And I'm like, well,
Kamaka.
Each of them are just so different. They're all, you have a unique experience with each and every one of them. You know?
Yeah, does your brother let you come on their podcast?
Micah doesn't have a podcast, so I'm sure he would
pays
if he
for
did.
A lot of things, though.
Yeah, if Kula had a podcast, I would be the first guest, honestly. Like, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, but so those places, even Madagascar, is like so different. I mean, Madagascar is obviously the most close to my heart because I was there for 3 years and I built a life there, you know. Right.
So after you graduated, how did you get into the Peace Corps? Because it's pretty hard to get into the Peace Corps.
It is competitive. Right? Now, you know, they shut down because of COVID and they're letting a lot of people in right now. I actually work part-time as a Peace Corps recruiter at UH, so if anybody wants to apply, right now is a good time to apply. Yeah, I came back from college. My goal was, after studying abroad, I'm going to finish up my Spanish certificate. I'm going to apply to South America. I'm going to meet my Spanish wife, bring her back to Hawaii, have Spanish kids, surf all day, live a simple Hawaiian life. That was my goal. I was so set on that. So I applied. I worked with the recruiter at UH Mānoa, Grace. Shout out to you, Grace. She helped me a lot. And then when I was on the website, they just changed it to where you can put your preference list. Before, they would just send you anywhere. Like our parents, grandparents, people, uncle, aunties that went to the Peace Corps, they would send you anywhere. You apply, they would just send you anywhere. And it's like the Book of Mormon when he's I want to go to, what did he say? Florida or Orlando. And he goes to Uganda, I think. Yeah. That's a classic. No shade to Uganda, but that was just a really funny Broadway show. So that's pretty much what happened to me, where I was so set on going to South America. I was applying. I saw Peru. I was like, oh, that would be so cool. I saw Costa Rica. And I was like, yeah, I'm set on those two. And there's just a third choice. And I thought, I studied abroad in Spain. I studied abroad in Argentina. Of course I'm going to get it. I didn't realize at that time those are the two most competitive places. So I needed a third choice, and I was on the M section, and I saw Madagascar, and I was like, oh, cool, like the movie. So that's the only reason I chose it. I didn't even think it was a realistic option. I just put it in so I could finish my application. A week later, I don't know how many weeks later, I got an email saying I was considered for a secondary education position in Madagascar. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know nothing about Madagascar. Do I even want to go to Madagascar? What is this place? So I did the interview. The guy told me about the similarities between Madagascar and Hawaii. Right. And that kind of made me a little bit more interested in it. And I didn't do much research before going either. I kind of just went with an open mind because I knew at the end of the day, I just wanted to go. I didn't care what I was doing. I didn't care where I was. I just wanted to help out and be in the Peace Corps, you know? That's all I wanted to do. You know, I remember opening the email saying I was accepted to Madagascar. I broke down and cried. I called Mom. I remember my mom telling me, because Kamaka does not cry. Happy. I've seen Kamaka cry like once in my life, and that was just like a very, very off thing. I was just like very, what's going on? Is the world ending kind of thing? So to hear Kamaka cry, it has to be a big thing. Yeah, it was such a surreal moment because, like, imagine getting that one thing that you've just always wanted, you know, that one thing that you've been working so hard to do. Like, I remember I didn't want to do anything after graduating except just join the Peace Corps. I didn't want to, you know, we have family that worked in Hawaiian Airlines. They said, be a flight attendant. I'm like, I can always be a flight attendant, whatever, you know. So I applied to it and I got it, and I was just so happy, like, especially because before graduating, people are asking you, what are you going to do next? You know, what are you going to do with your degree? All those things. And to be able to say, like, oh, I know what I'm doing after I graduate. I'm going to go to the Peace Corps. You know, not a lot of people know about the Peace Corps. But, you know, they know it's a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, yeah, or like some hippie that likes to, you know, go to different countries and help people, like, you know. So, yeah, I got in, I went there, and it was just the greatest experience of my life. And I can't, you know, say enough about the people in Madagascar, the experience that I had. I loved it so much. Yeah. Yeah,
and I know you have a million stories. I don't even think we can like fit it all into the podcast. But I just want to talk about
a bonus section for our Patreon supporters.
That one time, actually, talk about how your appendix ruptured when you were in Madagascar.
Yeah, where we both lost our appendix.
Oh yeah,
that's why we're homies.
Appendix twins.
Yeah, appendix twins.
Definitely not a great experience in my life. Still have a permanent scar.
Yours ruptured.
Yeah, but it was a very humbling experience. I was 9 years old. I missed my Dolphin Quest field trip. My whole
You probably couldn't feed your Neopets either.
No, I was in the hospital. I couldn't feed my Neopets. I was like, wow, this is really humbling. 9 years old. My Neopets are dead now. Thanks a lot, appendix.
That's traumatizing.
Yeah, I know. Like, talk about childhood trauma. My Neopets died. Anyway. Yeah, so I mean, what is the healthcare system like in Madagascar? I was there for a little bit, but...
Yeah, I'm always excited to share about my Peace Corps service and Madagascar. I mention it all the time on the podcast. So how Peace Corps works is you get sent to a country, you have 3 months of training, and you usually do it in like a Peace Corps training center in like a certain... town or, you know, village, whatever you want to call it, and then you go off to your site where that's a place where you're going to be serving for 2 years. So it's a 3 months and 24 months of service, so 27 months altogether. So during training, when we got there, you live with a host family. They don't speak any English. You know, they don't have electricity or running water for the most part. Right. You gotta poop and pee in a hole. Even at night, because they believe in witches in Madagascar. You have this bucket. It's called a chamber pot. It's something you pee in. So there's a lid. So you fill it up with a little water and then you pee in. So
that was
at night
easy.
you pee in the water, and if you gotta go number 2, that's where you do it too. So in the morning you go down, you dump it into the kabune, which is like the pit latrine, and then you rinse it out with water, and then So even when you brush your teeth, sometimes you spit it in the pole.
It's the everything bucket.
It's the everything bucket, yeah. It's the, multi-tool bucket.
Yeah.
So while I was in training, and it's like intense training, you have 4 hours of language a day, you have safety and security, health sessions, intercultural lessons, like what to do, what not to do, how to be respectful. You learn about mental health. Mental health is a big thing over there. So while I was doing the training, I think it was the second month, we were about to do site visits where we'd go to we had site placements where we know where we're going to be for the next 2 years.
Right.
So we went out over there. Before I went to site visit, I started getting sick. I think I had an amoeba. So I was like throwing up, diarrhea, stuff like that. You know, I'm going to be very candid on the podcast. Peace Corps volunteers talk about diarrhea all the time. Like, you get all kind of things. I'm just going to show my whole laundry list, share my whole laundry list of things that happened to me in Peace Corps. Basically, so I was in bed for like the whole time where our host family came to Montasua, the training center, to, greet us. So like my host mom, Lalaina, shout out to you. I love you so much. She just had a kid.
Congrats. So, I saw on Facebook, actually. Congrats.
So she barely got to know me. And then I got better towards the end. So I was able to go to my site. And she was like already so sketched on me. She's like, okay, no, you just stay in here, like here. And she like treated me like a king. It was the Olympics at that time. She had a TV at her house, so she like put the TV in my room. She would bring food to me in bed all the time. Wow. She's like, yeah, just whatever you need. Like, don't go too hard, because she knew I was sick. She's probably thinking like, oh, this weak American.
This is how all Americans are.
So basically, 2 weeks of site visits done, came back to Montasua, the training center. And then one day I was feeling kind of weird. I had language class. I was kind of like couldn't focus. I was feeling kind of just junk. They're like, okay, Kamaka, just go lie down. So it was at somebody else's house. So I just went and lied down on the floor. And then later on, they sent me home, and I just wasn't feeling good. I didn't know what it was. Like, my stomach was kind of getting sore, but I couldn't use the bathroom. Like, I couldn't eat. I wasn't hungry.
PTSD.
And then, but I'm so stubborn. Like, I wanted to go back to training. So eventually I walked all the way back to training. And so funny, I wrote about this in my book too. It was a first aid lesson that day. It was like a health like Dr. A, shout out to you. He was teaching everybody how to like make a splint out of something like woods and a shirt when you can't find anything. That was
like Bear Grylls.
Yeah, and it's funny because like everybody looked at me and they were laughing because the first week of training, I sprained my ankle playing volleyball.
Oh my gosh.
Like I jumped up and I landed on somebody's foot. And prior to that, I sprained my ankle so many times.
Yeah.
When I graduated college, I had to crutch up because I sprained my ankle playing basketball like 2 days before. So, you know, I was injury prone. So we're doing the lesson and I was just like crouched down like this, just like
fetal position.
Fetal position, yeah, but sitting down. So thanks. And people were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Trying to just focus, like
Pale
sweating.
White, fine.
They're like, "You don't look fine." So eventually the session ended, and then Dr. A checked me in the back of like the Jeep. It's like the Peace Corps cars are like, you know, those Jeep cars that you'd see in like secret
Jeep
like,
Wrangler.
Yeah, but it's like white ones with the Peace Corps logo.
Oh, dang.
So he checked me. He's like, "Okay," gave me some medicine. I went back home, and that night I just couldn't eat anything, and eventually like I just started to like throw up. But it was like very like intense, like dry heaving stuff because like I couldn't like get anything out. And like so bad where like I cut something in my throat. Like I started to like
just raw, like bile.
And then I started to bleed blood.
Oh my.
So like I ate soup, it came out, and it was like
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, and I'm 4 hours away from the city.
Yeah, keep in mind he's in Madagascar.
In developing country, very far, bad roads, and the roads are like bad, just terrible, like
if you ever been to Makalavena, it's like Makalavena the whole
probably worse.
time.
Only 11% of the roads in Madagascar are paved.
Yeah, rough.
So they sent some medicine to me when I was up over there. I took it, just came right out, couldn't do anything. Eventually, as like, I don't know, 10, 11 at night, the Peace Corps workers came up to get me, and I was just like, I couldn't, like, I was just crouched. It was like, pain was so bad. I had no idea what was going on. They took me to like a local hospital up on the mountain, and it was like super bad roads, and I'm already like
yeah,
every move was just so sore. So they take me, and then they have to wake up the local doctor, and of course it'll be like up on a hill over the mountains. And then they put me in it looked like a psych ward, like all empty beds, just like very plain
abandoned.
White. I was the only one there. Turn on the light, so it was like the Peace Corps, like somebody, I don't know, it was like one of the workers there. I remember Fenu there, he was there, and then somebody else, I forget. And I think it was the weekend or it was a Friday, and that's when the Peace Corps doctors go back to the city too, because that's where they live. So the Peace Corps doctor was in the city.
Oh, he left you.
So I was just with the local doctor, and he was trying to give me an IV. He tried once, couldn't do it. Tried again, couldn't do it. Tried again, couldn't do it. I think he was nervous maybe, and I have good veins.
Imagine
I have good
you're
veins.
in all these pain, and your doctor's nervous
Yeah.
to poke you.
Yeah, so I was like laying there, and like I couldn't take anything orally. So they gave me these things, and I had to put it
up your butt.
Anally.
Oh.
I don't know what the word is.
Anally.
Yeah.
I think that's the word.
Yeah.
You have to put it in
I've lived my whole life with everything just coming out of that area, you know?
Well,
so it was weird. So I had to do that, and I was like, well, this is my life now. I was like, I'm in
that was
Peace Corps.
First experience.
This is my second month of training, you know? So eventually at like 3 o'clock in the morning, the hospital, the ambulance came with the Peace Corps doctor. You know, they came 4 hours from the capital. Then they loaded me up, put an IV in me so quick.
Oh.
But I went into the ambulance and still going on road, but they gave me some morphine. So I was kind of out of it. I remember at one point, because all the locals always ask you if you can teach them English. Everybody wants to learn English. I remember one time I was like, I have to pee. So we stopped on the side of the road. I peed, and they're like, oh, can you teach me English? I'm like, maybe another time. I'm kind of busy right now.
Hey, can you teach me, how do Americans say? Sorry, not right now.
Yeah.
That's not the time.
I'm a little preoccupied. So I end up going to the hospital at like 6 in the morning. Finally, I do a bunch of tests, pee tests, and no privacy. Like, they just give me a cup. There's like 5 doctors in the room, nurses. I'm like, they're not going away. So I just pee in a cup right in front of them. I give it to them. I go to my own room. They tell me later I have acute appendicitis and I have to operate now. Dang. The Peace Corps doctor asked me if I want to talk to my family. Like, I can...
Your last moments.
Yeah. And I was like,
Did you think you were going to die?
No, I never. Okay. It was weird. I was very calm.
Maybe he thought you were going to die.
I wasn't worried because, like, I don't know. And people asked me, like, Auntie Cheryl, my stepmom, called after I was done with the surgery and asked, like, do you want to come home? Like, are you sure you want to be there? And, like, all I was thinking about was getting back to training and being with the rest of my Peace Corps friends. Because it's like, if you want to do something and that's what you want to do it so badly, nothing's going to stop you from doing it, right? So my mind was just set on getting better and getting back to training. But I wasn't worried. So I remember the ladies come in. They're like, hey, you got to operate. I didn't say, nope, I'm not going to call my family until after. They come in and I was 1 month into my service already. So I didn't speak much Malagasy. And then they just come in. I have no idea what they're going to do. I'm like, oh, they're probably just going to shave me because I'd have to operate on my stomach area. Right. So they go all the way up to my chest. They're just going down, down, down. I was like, okay, down to my stomach, all the way down to my groin. Oh my God. Like, I guess they're just shaving me everywhere.
They just start taking pictures of you. Yeah.
They started like selfie with the peace signs.
They start selling these pictures. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's how OnlyFans started right there in Madagascar.
Actually, Kamaka started OnlyFans.
I accidentally started OnlyFans.
That's how we fund the podcast, you guys.
Exactly. That's how Jordan feeds me. But basically, so they operated. The surgeon over there, he spoke English. So he was the only one that spoke English. He told me. I went in to do like the MRI or whatever, and they started putting like the thing to make me go to sleep, anesthesia. And I just remember thinking, I was singing Streetlights by Kanye West.
Yeah. Should I sing? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That and then Bob Marley, Don't Worry About a Thing. You know, I just kept saying that to myself. And then I woke up and I had bandages all over my stomach. It was all bloated. I FaceTime Mom. The Peace Corps doctor put on his hotspot. I FaceTime Mom. I'm like, hi, Mom. They're like, oh, come on, what's up? And they haven't heard from me, right? This is the first time they're hearing from me.
Hi,
and I was like, hi, Mom. I put the camera down to my stomach. I just had surgery.
Someone stabbed me, Mom.
Yeah, I just got shot. Nah. She's like, wow, Kamaka, are you kidding me? But, you know, that's a life hack. You know, if you're going to do something sketchy or do you're going through something, FaceTime your parents after because they're gonna worry about you a lot more. But hopefully,
it's like along the same lines of don't ask permission, ask forgiveness.
Yes, exactly, and I'm very much like that. So I did that and I had surgery, and then went back to Peace Corps. I had to spend a week in the capital just healing up. Then I couldn't live with my host family the rest of the time, so I stayed at the training center because I needed the comforts of that place. And I lived, like, my host family had a big steps to go up to their thing. Especially when I sprained my ankle, that was tough because I had to, like, of course, I would live, like...
That's such a Kamaka thing. Yeah. Like, let me just sprain my ankle, play volleyball real quick.
But, yeah, so that's how my Peace Corps experience started. I finished the training, went to my site. First week of at my site, I had food poisoning. I ate cow brains. I didn't know what it was. And my host mom was like already like, this kid's gonna die. This kid should not be here. Like, he just cannot handle.
They said I would only last 3 weeks. Look at me now, 20 something years later.
1,000 to 1 odds. But so I had food poisoning. I don't know if anybody has ever heard the term double dragoning.
Oh.
Maybe you can just think about it. It's basically when things come out the top and the bottom at the same time.
Yeah.
But
use your imagination.
Imagine doing that without a toilet.
In his pants, you guys.
So pretty much, I had the pole, everybody's favorite old pole, but I needed 2. And the volunteer that I replaced, he still had his old one outside. So one I sat on, one I had in front of me, And I was just double dragoning, and I was like, "This is my life."
That's insane. No Pedialyte, nothing. Like,
nothing. And you're just in the middle of nowhere. I lived 4 hours from the capital. Like,
dang.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Definitely not for the weak.
They teach you. You know, they give you a first aid kit. They give you stuff to take care of yourself. So you call the doctor. They'll tell you, okay, go in your med kit. Take this. Take this. So at that point, I just couldn't eat stuff. So my neighbors brought me Simon, like ramen noodles, plain, for like 11 straight meals. I remember 11 straight meals. I hated it. It was just water and noodles. I don't know why they didn't put the seasoning. They didn't think they could, like, I could handle. I just did that. It was like the worst. Even like the first time so after that, like maybe a week after that, I ended up underneath my foot, it started to get sore. I ended up having these.
What now, Kamaka?
I ended up having these sand fleas that burrow into your foot.
Oh,
they're called like tungiasis.
Guys, sorry.
We're gonna have to put a label on this episode.
It's like rated R.
This is what happens when you interview me.
Dang, sand fleas. Good thing Mom was not listening to any of that.
Yeah, basically, they're called like sand fleas, parasi in Malagasy, and usually get them at the coast. So people didn't believe me. I was like, I think it's like parasi. Because I heard other volunteers talking about it, other volunteers that were already there. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it is. Because you can see the butt, like the legs sticking out of your, like underneath your foot. Usually getting your toes, but I had it right under my arch of my foot.
Oh my God.
And they said, wait, let a Malagasy person take it out. But my site was super dusty. So I think that's why it was like kind of like sand. But it was a Sunday when I found out, like it was actually, when I looked and I saw it. And I was like, everybody's at church. So I didn't want to wait. So I grabbed the needle and I just started poking at the bottom of my foot for like an hour. 1 hour into it, I was just like bleeding. And like, I was like, and it was hard because I had to put my feet up, like kind of how you sit cross-legged. It was at a weird spot. So I had a flashlight too, because it's kind of, I didn't get too much sunlight in my house. And I was just poking it. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then eventually I got it all out, and I just put a Band-Aid on, and I washed my feet really good for the rest of my time over there. I had another one at a different part later in my service, and I took that out with like a syringe needle. But so that was the start of my Peace Corps service. That is
nuts. That is like a lot more than I asked on this podcast. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, but the lesson is that you just get all the hard stuff out first. You know,
that's kind of crazy.
After that, my Peace Corps service was a breeze. Besides the time I got stuck on a Bruce during a cyclone, and I had to walk 8 hours back to my friend's site, and the other time I got schistosomiasis, a waterborne disease that goes inside of you.
You can read all about it in this book right here, you guys. All the details, all the gory stuff.
Yeah.
Gosh, I feel like if you look at Kamaka, if you see him on the street, you wouldn't think he's that nuts, you know? He seems like a normal guy. No, he's the type of guy who gets sand fleas and you pick them out.
You never know what people have been through. That's why you should always be nice to people.
Yeah. You should always be nice to people because they might have almost died.
Oh, also there's my first week at site too. I went to get water from my well, and I found the black widow.
Okay, you know like how people...
I killed it.
You killed it?
I didn't know what to do. I killed it. Oh, even the well. You know how one time it was getting kind of dry?
A snake.
No. They sent a kid down to dig. I was like, is there a kid down there? And my well was long. Like the rope was long. I was like, what the heck? There's a kid over there.
Nuts out there.
Yeah.
That's really funny. You know, like how everyone has kind of irrational fears as a kid. Like as a kid, you're afraid of quicksand. Not like you'll ever experience quicksand in your life, but you're just like, oh my God, what do I do when I come across some quicksand? That was me with Black Widow spiders. Black Widow, I watched 1,000 Ways to Die one time.
Oh, really?
It just came up on the TV and I was like, my life is going to end because of a Black Widow spider. I think so. I was convinced.
Yeah.
Not
today. Well, I figured like, okay, if I attack it, you know, I try to kill it, I'll kill it, it's gone, I can get water. If not, I get bit and I can be the next Spider-Man. So it's a win-win situation for me.
That's a really good point.
That was my mindset, so I wasn't scared.
You could have been Peace Corps volunteer turned Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Or you could have just died.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so...
I also had long hair and beard the whole time of my Peace Corps service.
I always forget.
Yeah.
That's really funny because one of the questions I got actually...
Should we go into Instagram questions?
Yeah, we should go into Instagram questions. I'm going to start with that question. This was from... Magali.
Oh, Magali.
Magali.
Yeah, she's a big supporter.
Okay, so Magali
Magali Gill
12 said, "Why won't he how out his hair? He must." I thought it was a threat, you guys.
They love the hair. Yeah.
Why don't he grow out his hair?
They were supporters from the Race to 50K. It's funny because I remember.
Right, we didn't even get to talk about that.
Yeah,
but okay.
We got a lot.
I know, there's a lot.
But her and her husband, I think Jeff, he paid me like $50 to go surfing to catch a wave. That was really cool job. And they bought Hawaiiverse shirts.
So he never got that $50, you guys.
Her mom does the Lahefa tacos in Hilo.
Oh,
that's her mom.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
They love Hawaiiverse.
Love Lahefa.
I probably won't grow it out again. It's just too much work. I don't want to go through the awkward phase again. I did in Peace Corps because I've never done it, and like I didn't really care how I looked. I figured I was already a weird looking kid anyways because I'm so foreign to them. So I didn't really care how I looked. So, and then the Race 50K, I was like to save money. I didn't want to cut my hair, pay for haircuts. So now I have a little bit more money that I can pay for haircuts.
Right. This question is from @Christina.show. Do you have any advice for young Hawaiians that want to follow their dreams but feel like their resources are limited? That's an amazing question, by the way.
Nice. I like that question. If I was to say that, I would say just scrap.
And that's it. We're going to move on to
No. So advice for kids. Sorry, can you read again? Sorry.
Do you have any advice for young Hawaiians that want to follow their dreams but feel like the resources are limited? Especially because we live on an island, you know.
Figure it out. I mean, at the end of the day, it's on you. You know, like
tough love.
We're gonna limit ourselves. We're gonna find excuses for anything why we couldn't do something. You know, why I'm not capable of this. But trust me, when you're put in situations where you have no resources, you don't know how to get out of a situation, you'll find out a lot about yourself, and you'll figure out how you're gonna get out of that and how you're gonna go over that hump. I mean, I moved to Oahu my senior year of high school. I had no friends here. I made friends. I ended up going to college. Like, I didn't plan to go to UH, but I figured it out. You know, when I was in the Peace Corps, so many times where I was put in situations where like I didn't know how I was gonna get out of it, and I just figured it out. You know, one foot in front of the others, and then like, you know, with the limited resources we have here, we see stories of people that make it. A lot of athletes. Kamalani Dang, you know?
Yeah.
She learned from YouTube.
Right.
She learned how to pitch from YouTube.
Yeah.
So there's always options. Maybe you just have to connect with people. I would say one thing, just don't wait for your life to happen. I think a lot of my early years, I was just waiting for an opportunity to just come on my door, and I didn't want to work for it. I just like, you know, I want to be a professional athlete. Oh, maybe this scout would just randomly reach out to me like, I saw you at this one game recently, but no, maybe you have to like put tapes together, send it out to people, be proactive about it. But there's ways, just find the ways. I wanted to travel and volunteer. I couldn't find any other ways because I didn't have money. I found the Peace Corps. Peace Corps is free. They pay for you. So there's always options. So you just have to figure it out. Don't have the island mentality where we're like, oh, we're at a disadvantage. Or I'm Native Hawaiian, you know, there's just been so many things, there are so many things going against us.
Right.
Like, figure it out. I mean, Hawaiians are smart. Hawaiians are innovative. We're wayfarers.
Period.
They traveled the world, you know, so be Hawaiian.
You think our ancestors were like, I can't do this and that. They sailed the ocean using the stars. Like, you can find a video on YouTube.
Well, let me just use the stars, you know? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great,
Nana Ike Kumu, you know, look at the source.
Right.
You know?
I mean, that's a great point. Like, maybe our resources aren't limited. We're limiting ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Kalia Watson wants to know, why did he wear house slippers to Hawaii swim show? You guys.
Oops.
Okay, let me give you some context to this.
Hey, shout out to Kalia. She's a hustler.
Kalia Watson, she's owner of Shop Le Makani. She's a designer.
Ever.
And her and Taylor Matas created the first ever Hawaii swim show, which is kind of crazy. First ever, you know, Hawaii, we live in bikinis, but somehow this was our first Hawaii swim show. So,
which you walked in?
Yeah, I did. I walked in.
I'm a little salty. I wasn't asked to walk in and wear bikinis, whatever.
We didn't want to traumatize the audience. So anyways, the dress code to come was black formal. And Kamaka, he came and he was like, can I wear my slippers? And she was like, well, it's black formal. He wore black house slippers, you guys.
Compromise. And
I was so embarrassed. You know, actually I wasn't embarrassed. I was like, it's it's Kamaka. Like,
it's fashion. It's fashion. Sorry that you don't understand fashion. Like, it's not my fault.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know anything, you know? What fashion. Kanye West is doing nowadays, anything goes, you guys. Like, wear house slippers to New York Fashion Week. I think you should do it. I'm just a
trendsetter.
Okay, anyway, next question before we go more into that. What is your this is from Grace Lynn Jardine. Okay. What's your greatest accomplishment and what's the next one you want to do?
Greatest accomplishment. I think, like as a career-wise, like personal goals, Peace Corps. Like finishing that was just because of how hard it was and how much I had to go through. Like getting to the end and ringing that bell was like amazing. Like I just wanted to do that so bad. Like put all the hard work, all the struggles that you went through, all the relationships that you make to finally close the chapter on that and reach the top, like the end goal. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was just like the best thing insane. Ever. I could do a lot of things, and like that's gonna be my greatest accomplishment. Maybe until I have like kids or something. But even like race to 50K, it was amazing. Like I paid off my student loans, the Hawaiiverse, the podcast. It's cool, but like how hard I had to work to just survive, you know, and have a good service. Like I raised money to get computers for my site. Like I think I was a good volunteer. I taught the kids. I played sports with them. Like I did a lot of other things. I worked at an orphanage. I learned nunchucks when I was up there. Like
not very good though.
Yeah, come on now. But yeah, just everything that I did. Like I think that it's gonna be hard to top that, and that's why like after leaving the Peace Corps, it's like what's hard after that? Like I just did that.
Right.
If I want to pay off $50,000 of student loans in 1 year, why can't I do that?
And that's kind of crazy because when I went to go visit you, Kamaka actually pitched me the idea because
I forced you. I was like, you're not going to be right over there in South Africa and not come and visit me. I'm going to pay for you.
That was actually amazing. That was a great experience. But even like when you were coming towards the end of your Peace Corps, you already knew what you were going to do next. And I feel like that's a very rare thing to have. Like Kamaka, if there's one thing or like one word you could explain Kamaka, I would say it's tenacious or just very like
go-getter.
Yeah, just like very I don't know the word for this. Just
hyper focused.
Like that. It's very much Kamaka's very much so when I was there visiting, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go pay off my student debt in a year." And I was like, okay. I didn't think it was serious. Like, I don't think anyone think like, oh yeah, Kamaka's gonna pay off. All right, Kamaka, good luck with that. And he did it, and that's kind of like
speak it to existence.
Yeah, like you really can do anything if you want to do it. If you want it bad enough, you'll do it. And that's something I feel like you've taught me throughout my life. Yeah,
same way I tweeted 11 months ago, I'm gonna have the biggest podcast in Hawaii in a couple of years. And it happened a lot quicker than that. So, there's a lot of help, a lot of support comes with that. But just believing in yourself, knowing that you're capable of
just
anything.
Confidence is all you need.
Same with the Race 50. Yeah, and a lot of people don't see the preparation that goes into things. Like, they just see the success, like the podcast, you know. But, yeah, I was telling people, I was planning. I had steps to, like, every single step led up to me announcing the Race to 50K and then doing the Race to 50K. But even just like telling myself, like being confident and telling others, like this is months before I even came back to Hawaii. I'm going to pay off $50,000 student loans in 1 year.
Everyone's like, okay.
Yeah.
Good luck. Have fun. Yeah. Oh, good job.
If they don't believe in you, that's fine. But I believe in myself.
Right. And even going off of that, like during the pandemic was like a really, really hard time to do that, but you still made it work. And it just goes to show like it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It matters how you make your circumstances, like how you can turn lemons into lemonade. And even during that time, I feel like people saw you as like still this happy go-getter, like positive guy, but no one really knows what Kamaka was like behind the scenes. Like Kamaka punched me in the face. Kamaka like flushed my head down the toilet.
That was one time.
I was like,
the head kick was an accident
today, and he punched me straight in the face, you guys. he's not this great guy.
I stole your lunch money like 5 times during the pandemic. Whatever. Get over it.
Like, on a serious note, I've never seen Kamaka like so stressed. Like, Kamaka throughout our life, I would say, like, as siblings, like, we can all say that he was very positive, and like Kamaka was always the peacemaker of our family.
Number 9.
Enneagram, if you're familiar, he's the number 9, the peacemaker. But yeah, and so it was kind of weird to see Kamaka like short-tempered and like high-strung and kind of just like.
Wasn't short-tempered, just like focused. Like, sorry, I got to do this.
Or like when the pandemic happened, I know a lot of us were in denial of like what was going on, but Kamaka was very much like, I've never seen Kamaka like shut down, kind of bummed out of like what was going on. So that was kind of like freaky. Yeah, and it worked. So. Yeah.
You be bummed, you get over it, and then you wake up the next day. Suck them up.
Suck it up. Suck them up. Whatever.
There's multiple meanings to that.
Yeah. So going on to the next question. This one's from Bargain Betty 78. This is my friend Noe. Shout out to you, girl. What is his favorite? What is his favorite thing about you? And favorite memory with you, my kava kamali'i. Oh, I didn't actually read that first part. I just read the last part. So what is your favorite thing about me, Kamaka?
I mean, I'm proud of Kanoe and everything she's accomplished, especially studying abroad and seeing her become a woman. You know, when I left, Kanoe was a junior in high school. My little brother was just starting high school, 9th grade. So they were kids when I left. So by the time I saw them again, they were, adults or like young adults. So it's cool to see them and like, have that transition from like little sibling to like friend. So, like we can actually hang out and talk about similar stuff and watch football together.
Travel the world together, maybe? That's
travel, like that would be really cool. But yeah, to see you come to Madagascar and like show you my home for the last 3 years was super cool.
That was awesome.
But yeah, I love that. Kind of similar to me where she's like, not afraid to do things, not afraid to go for it. She's a lot more sensitive than I am. I can make her cry so easily.
That's not true, you guys. The reason why I wanted to come on this podcast is to make him cry. Like, I wanted to bully him so hard on this podcast that it embarrassed him. But I'm not doing that great. So.
Yeah, I think our banter is really good between all our siblings. And she does a lot of cool things, which makes me really proud, like modeling and like some other things, walking in fashion shows and trailblazing a lot of things. She's very passionate about Hawaiian culture as well, so that's awesome. I think favorite memory, probably just coming to Madagascar. I remember us getting pizza, just catching up.
That was
that was
awesome.
Learning like what have you been up to in the last couple of years. I love that moment, and then just being able to show you like my site, Latinai Bakaru, introduce you to people.
Yeah, that was
You're
awesome.
Like the tallest female in Madagascar at that time. Everybody's really short over there. I think that's probably the best.
What about
time.
like from childhood?
Oh, childhood?
Favorite.
I didn't even remember Mom was pregnant with you.
Oh, that's true. Our mom says like Kamaka showed up to the hospital when I was born and was like, "Who's this?
Who this? Who's sibling? Who this?
Mom, why are you carrying some person's baby? Why are you in the hospital?
And you were born on Oahu too, because we happened to be on Oahu during that time.
Yeah, I was born here.
It was I don't know. I just didn't. I just had living in my own world at that point.
Truly.
Just like, wait, I have a sister now? Yeah.
You had a sister.
Well, a younger sister.
I have a favorite memory. My favorite memory was when we tried to pants Kamaka in the park and ended up pantsing Ku in the park when he was like 5 or something.
We have the video.
There's a video of it.
He was crying.
I was carrying my iPod Nano with me everywhere I go. I was the OG vlogger back in the day. And for some reason, we pants Ku in the park, and he was just running around, this little kid in his underwear. And it was just the funniest thing.
I don't know why we were so mean.
I know, we were so mean. Like,
it was so funny, though. It was so funny. It was.
It might not be as funny to you.
I don't know what it was, because I remember you guys were trying to like get me, but I was like,
Ku was trying to get you.
Yeah, and then I just turned it around, and I was like reverse Uno to you guys.
No, Lay did.
Yeah.
Lay pantsed Ku, and then we all just started bullying Ku collectively. Nothing really brings you together than bullying one sibling.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ku. Sorry about that, all that trauma. But
he turned out to be a great. Yeah, that was necessary for him to be the man he is
Character
today.
development.
Exactly, because he didn't have the sports discipline of it, so we had to, give him a little tough love.
Yeah.
My favorite memory of you when we were young, I honestly don't really remember, but I'm playing Wii. Maybe we played Wii sports a lot.
Karaoke.
Yeah.
Lots of good memories.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I remember. I have more memories of you older.
Yeah.
When you were younger.
You kind of left the house when I was still growing up, so.
We didn't really.
I have this vivid memory of me, you, and Lay jumping on her bed with our shirts off and saying Mickey Momo, Mickey Momo.
I don't know what that.
We were just like
Mickey Momo. Where's that from? That's from a cartoon or something. Yeah.
It was so random. Just Mickey Momo.
Yeah,
Mickey
okay,
Momo.
yeah, I remember that. High School Musical, like singing High School Musical maybe. Like,
during the pandemic, nothing really beats those days.
Yeah.
Bonding with your siblings.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome growing up with a bunch of siblings.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know how much time we have left, but I do want to ask you this question. What is your why? This is from Tootylicious _ She said his why. Why he does what he does and why it's important. What do you feel like your why is?
I don't know. I just like to do things, bro.
I'm just chilling.
Yeah. My why, I like to help out. I like to make people happy. I like to bring value to the world. And I think, no matter what I do, I do things that are very intentional. I don't do things just to do it. Mm-hmm. So, if I'm doing something, it's like I have a purpose in mind. I have like a goal. Like starting the podcast is like I want to share these stories with people. I want to talk to people who are influential and have them share their stories to inspire others. Mm-hmm. I want to pay off my student loan, not one, because, there's always a counter to everything that I do, like a hidden meaning. Like, paying off my student loans, it's inspiring people to, live frugally, pay off their student loans. But it's also just teaching people to go and follow your dream. Like, if you want to accomplish something, don't let anything stop you. Don't let something hold you back. Mm-hmm. So I think it's always to inspire and to, like, make people happy and to help out and just give people this sense of community. Mm-hmm. I think that's why I do things. Is just, like, I wanna be able to inspire people and like, motivate them to do things that they didn't think were possible. Mm-hmm. Because I've done things, nothing crazy like becoming a professional athlete or having a Guinness World Record. Like, has
a professional athlete done what you've done? No,
maybe faster because they get like a huge $1 million deal.
That's true. LeBron James could do it.
Yeah, I know. I remember talking to somebody randomly who had an OnlyFans. I was like, I paid off my student loans in like $50,000 in student loans in 1 year. And then she's like, I made like $40,000 in 3 months.
Honestly, Kamaka, it's your backup if you want to do it.
I know. I found out about OnlyFans from doing the Race to 50K. I didn't know what it was, and because people kept asking me about it, and I was like, what is that? So
it kind of blew up during that time.
Yeah. But that's my why. I do it for others, and just I like challenging myself, prove it to myself that I can do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you feel like with all that you've done and now that people kind of know who you are, we went to Ala Moana the other day and all of a sudden he has to go to the bathroom, right? He goes by himself. Oh, I just got recognized by someone. Okay, Kamaka. Coincidentally, he gets recognized when none of us are around him, but if you say so, if people do recognize you in public, do you feel this pressure to upkeep a sort of image, or do you ever feel like kind of stressed about things that you do or things you say online? Like,
I think in the beginning, because Race 50K, I documented my whole entire life. Mm-hmm. So everything from morning to day was online. Right. So I felt like I was obligated to just share everything. And at one point, it just got too much. Mm-hmm. Like, especially finishing it, I was so burnt out. And I didn't want to post about my life anymore. I didn't want to, have to always be doing stuff. So I think I really, 2021 was a hard year. Mm-hmm. Just post Race 50K, trying to figure out what I was going to do, where my relationship with social media. And then eventually I got to a point where it's just I don't care. Mm-hmm. I think the pandemic, last 2 years of the pandemic really made me
Right.
I don't give an F anymore. I'm just gonna be myself. I think at one point I was like, why don't I post any like silly things or like stuff? Like it's all business now. It's all Hawaiiverse, which is still a lot of my stories and posts, but it's fun though. I love to do it. But before I was just like, I think I almost lost my dinosaur per se from Step Brothers.
Yes.
Like, I just like I had to go back to her like, what do I enjoy about this and why am I doing it? Because like I'm doing it because it's fun, you know.
Don't
not
lose your dinosaur.
Yeah, not because like I need to do it. It's a business. I mean, there's one side of it. I see social media as a way to, you know, promote things. I think it's a great business tool. I don't think everything needs to be shared on social media. But in a sense, I feel like, you know, I do have to, you know, I can't express everything, all late night thoughts on social media because of, you know, Hawaiiverse and whatever.
We see how that's going with Kanye West.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's...
I mean, if you talk to me in person, I'll just share anything. And I'm very open about things. You ask me a question, I'll answer it honestly. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just pretty much myself. I don't need to like turn a switch off or on to do something. Maybe I just have to be a little bit more energetic. That's the only thing. Because I'm very chill.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that, you guys. Yeah, anyway, I'll keep this as the last question then. What is the thing that you want to see happen in the community? This is from Melaimede 3.
Who?
Melaimede 3. I don't really know how to say her Instagram name, but I know who this is. Auntie Melissa. Hi, Auntie Melissa.
Okay. What do I want to see happen in the community?
Yeah.
I just want aloha to be abundant. You know, I think abundance creates abundance. Scarcity creates scarcity. I think if we just show more aloha, we're more kind to each other, I think the community will change. You know, we wouldn't have to worry about people treating each other badly, tourists not being respectful here. I think if we create a good environment and we lead by example, then everybody will follow in our footsteps. I mean, one of the goals of the Race 50K was to show people that people are kind. You know, I just convinced a bunch of strangers to let me help them, and they give me money.
And it worked. And
it worked because what I set out to prove was true, is that people are inherently kind. People will help you if you ask for help, if you give them a reason to help you. You know, people love helping is a selfish thing. You know, there's a lot of self-interest in helping. When I give you $20 to buy food, that makes me happy because like I'm helping you. You know, helping is awesome. Like being kind to people is awesome, and it's not that hard. Holding a door open, letting somebody go into your lane. You know, just not controlling your anger, not getting mad at somebody when somebody cuts you off. Just be like, it's all right. Maybe they're in a rush.
Yeah.
It's all right, you know. And
that's such an important reminder. I feel like living on this island, because I just moved to Oahu like in January. This island has, I mean, I could blame it easily on the island, where it's just like you sit in traffic, people drive kind of crazy, you just get mad, you're grouchy. Like, I feel like I've become more of an angry, impatient person because of like the things around me. But when you become that one nice person who lets someone cut in front of you, or if someone's merging, you let them go, or you go in front of someone and you wave them and you're like, oh, thank you. Like, little things like that make you feel good. Like, what is it about helping others that makes you feel good, you know? So it just kind of proves, like, we're meant to do that. We're meant to be nice to people. We're meant to have this feeling all the time. Like, growing up in Hilo, I feel like community is so important because the Hilo is so small. And, like, growing up with our background of Kula Kaiapuni and aunties and uncles and things like that, it's really important to maintain relationships with others. And I think that's something so rare that I didn't realize. No,
I noticed that when I came to Oahu too. The sense of community is totally different.
Yeah.
I think loyalty is a big thing. I'm not hating on Oahu people, because this can happen anywhere. You know, maybe it's just my group of friends in Hilo that was just so close, and like, I just feel there's a lot more loyalty in a lot of situations. Like, people stay friends longer, childhood, you know, there's not so much drama. If there is, they get through it. It's not so superficial, but that's kind of just like comparing city to country.
Yeah.
You know, so it could happen different anywhere, and it's not every single person.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a difference, but
I feel like if you can't find a community, you should be the one to make one.
Yeah, exactly.
You should be the one person to create kindness in a world of really grouchy people.
I like to think like people in your life are a reflection of you. You know, so if you're hanging out with a bunch of bad people, then you got to look at yourself in the mirror, because those people are just like the people that you let yourself be around. You know, that's your mirror that you're holding up.
And I feel like I learned that a lot through your Race to 50K, was just how inherently kind people can be. Like, it was really emotional for me because, of course, I wanted to see you win. Like, I didn't want you to get through 12 months and you still hadn't paid off your loan. So I was just like always praying and like banking on the fact that like you would do it. But seeing people give you like $100 just cause was like, oh my god.
That was the part I did not expect.
You getting a car for free, like
so many things I didn't expect.
I didn't even realize like how, like it was just so, especially like, okay, going back to Lanai's podcast where he talked about how special Hawaii is and how people can come together. I cried during that episode because I'm like, wow, it's such a rare thing we have in Hawaii, like the kindness and we feel accountable for each other. Like there's a responsibility we have to one another here in Hawaii, and we can't lose that. And your Race to 50K was a really great, like, reminder. I don't know what reminder, but also kind of like a renaissance in a way of like, let's bring back aloha. Like, let's put a highlight on this one thing. Like, we can be very kind to people and we can help each other. Imagine what we could do, you know, when we say our resources are limited. No, we can do it. Like,
well, maybe by yourself your resources are limited, but if you, you know, if you work with other people, you combine that and then imagine what you can do, you know?
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's just what I want for the community, is to just realize that we're all in this together. You know, there's no competition, you know, community over competition. If we all work together, like, imagine how amazing, like, that's the thing I hate about politics. It's so divisive, where it's just like the Democrats,
nothing's
Republicans.
Ever that black and white. It shouldn't ever be.
Why don't we work together? We got one side of the army fighting with the other side of the army. Now we don't have an army. You know?
Right. Exactly.
Doesn't make any sense.
And like with all of the kindness that you received from, I guess, your Race to 50K, what would you say was the most memorable, if you have any? Like, one specific moment.
Of like the things I did?
Or just like something that someone has done for you that really like. Wow.
Well, I mean, the girl giving me her car because I was planning to skateboard and catch rides with people the whole entire time. I had no plans of getting a car because I couldn't afford it. So it was her giving me the car was amazing. Shout out to her.
That is incredible.
Such a crazy act of kindness. And then, yeah, people just started to like donate money just to like, I guess it was like watching a show. It's like how people watch gamers on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
It's like that kind. I didn't expect that at all. I was just planning to just like head down, work hard, cut grass, whatever it took. You know, I was ready for that. But like dressing up as Buzz Lightyear for a kid's birthday party, did not expect that, you know?
That was really funny.
Yeah,
that was really cute.
Oh, just random things like that. This was like, it made the Race to 50K what it was.
Yeah.
And, you know, the pandemic, of course, slowed it down. I couldn't do a lot of things, but I got to, you know, get groceries for kupunas instead of, you know, deliver flowers to a significant other. So it just changed a little bit.
And I think we needed that during the pandemic, to see someone win and someone kind of make the community feel normal, or kind of bring people together in a time where we felt so divided. Yeah. That was a really good reminder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because of the government, that's why everybody felt divided.
We're getting into politics, you guys.
Yeah, I'm not the host anymore.
Is this the Joe Rogan? I don't know. Never mind.
No, I don't know. There's some things that just came out recently that really contradict everything that was promoted in the beginning. That's all I gotta say.
Did you guys hear about that guy on the BuzzFeed channel, the Try Guys? Yeah, that was crazy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy news.
Yeah, crazy news.
Really sad for those guys, but would you ever do something like that again?
Get debt?
Yeah, like would you ever put yourself more into debt so that you could do another race?
I have a truck payment that I'm currently paying off, but it's not as much.
What is it? Ford
Maverick. Hybrid hammer truck. I mean, I don't know what my next thing right now feels like. Hawaiiverse Podcast. That's where my focus is. I definitely want to write the book about Race to 50K. I just kept pushing it off. One thing keeps happening after another. I just like to think, you know, I like to do the next most exciting thing.
Yeah.
And everything will be there. You know, the story will still be there. I think it'll be relevant no matter what. But yeah, I'll get to that. But right now, my focus is just the podcast.
That's awesome.
And Hawaiiverse, our business Hawaiiverse, trying to support local businesses, trying to get our app launched so that, that we can make a real impact with that.
Someone say an app?
Yeah, we got
an app, you guys.
Not appetizer. In the application.
Poo-poos.
Yeah.
Poo-poos on the Hawaiiverse podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like we kind of touched on, no, I can't even say that. We didn't touch on like everything your life has been. That's kind of a lot to go into.
Yeah, but I think we're done with the Instagram questions, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you guys say mahalo for everyone for the Instagram questions.
Sorry, what was that?
Mahalo everyone for the Instagram questions.
Mahalo everyone for the Instagram questions.
Leave some for the next guest.
Leave some for the next
and
guest.
Maybe your question will make it on the podcast.
On the Hawaiiverse podcast.
All right, perfect.
This is my first time on a podcast. I can't say that I was nervous this morning, but I was nervous this morning.
You're doing great.
I'll be honest.
Great. Yeah. So now this is the part where you kind of start to wrap up. You just ask, some of like the real
why don't
like
you ask
cultural.
me questions, Kamaka?
Yeah.
So actually, my name when I was born on December 27th,
former Miss Hawaii Island.
Yeah.
All right. Once you work on your career, we'll get on.
Maybe
get on
one
here.
Day I'll be good enough to sit in the chair that Bretman Rock sat in.
People stop asking me to come on to promote yourself, please. I do not like that.
That is.
Everybody has a story to tell. I love it. I would love to tell your story, but the point of this isn't to promote yourself. It's to have conversations and a story. I mean, I guess in a way you're promoting yourself because you are the brand, but it's not. This isn't just like the news.
This isn't the uplift. What is it? This isn't the clout podcast. It's a Hawaiiverse podcast, you guys. Who are some of the top 3? What are your top 3 dream guests on this podcast?
Dream guests? Locally or outside?
I would say locally.
Locally, Max Holloway.
Oh, blessed MMA.
Yeah, the best is blessed. Would love to get him on. So Max, if you're watching this,
please, Max.
I mean, I really love Kimie. She's gonna come on though, so at some point.
Sneak peek.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when, but she will come on. How's this guy? I mean, I'll give you some previews. Like, basically anyone you can think of, they're probably gonna come on at some point.
Okay, how's this guy?
Except like the really like Jason Momoa and Nicole. Like, I'm not at that level yet.
Jason
but,
Scott Lee.
Jason Scott Lee will come on.
What?
Yeah.
You heard it here first, you folks.
Go to Patreon. Sign up for our Patreon if you want some behind the scenes upcoming guests.
David on the podcast.
Yeah, so we got a good. There's never a shortage of guests. We have so many people doing amazing things. That's why I would love to feature everyone at some point, but I could only have 50 guests in a year, and I have a long list of people that I want. And sometimes I find out about people and I think they have a really cool story, so I try to push them in, but.
All the people you could have had and you put yourself. That's insane.
This actually wasn't my idea, okay? So let's just be clear about that, Jordan. Jordan was supposed to be where you are.
Jordan.
Jordan, you want to say hi to the...
Yeah, Jordan, you want to say hi?
This is probably the longest episode.
Really?
Oh, is it?
What is the time check?
Oh, let me double check.
You're supposed to check the timer, Kanoe.
It's 1:36 right now.
Oh, no, that's good. We're good.
It means that Jordan wants to get out of here.
Yeah, Jordan wants to eat.
You guys are taking forever. You're just talking.
I think it's funny. I look up, I heard neon pets.
Neopets, yeah.
Neopets, not neon pets. Oh my
god.
gosh.
Kind of crawled.
Yeah, Sierra has crawled
I don't know if
back and forth
Sierra
to
has
go
been
out of
in
this
and out
room
of this room
to take a phone call. Yeah. So, do you have any other stuff you're supposed to just get into?
Where can we find you?
Oh, are we finishing the podcast?
Oh, I don't know. Do you want to? We can keep going if you want. Jordan wants to eat. Nah, I'm just kidding.
No, just usually, you get into a little bit more deeper stuff.
No,
I guess we talk cultural stuff on the podcast. What does it mean to be Hawaiian?
What does it mean to be Hawaiian, Kamaka? Do you feel like you're Hawaiian? Do you think cocoa matters? matters?
Cocoa over loco, that's what I'll say.
Ooh. Actually, I do want to talk about that. What do you feel about blood quantum?
And you got the life hack too.
Oh,
you can't end the podcast without the life hack.
I'm sorry, you guys.
You didn't do your homework. Next year.
I'm nervous. I'm literally sweating this chair.
Yeah,
I keep saying you guys. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I actually want to know about that. Do you feel like blood quantum is important to being Hawaiian?
So if the question is like, what is it to be Hawaiian? Blood quantum makes you Hawaiian by blood. You know, that's your like ethnicity. If you want to talk about nationality, citizenship, that depends if you think we're a sovereign kingdom or not. Yeah. You know, we're technically American citizens right now. I mean, I was in the Peace Corps. That's an American organization. Technically, I'm an American citizen. Would I love Hawaii to be a sovereign nation? Yes. There's a lot of debates whether, you know, Hawaiian is just somebody who was born and raised here. That's what they were considered Hawaiian. There's a lot of different resources that you can go to, people you can talk to about it. Hawaiian, black and white, if you have the blood, you're Hawaiian. The other parts, I don't know. I would have to talk to people. Like, I've had the conversation on the podcast, like, what does it mean to be Hawaiian? To me, I like to just think of being Hawaiian as a mindset, you know, even if you don't have the blood. Yeah. Because if you know, have the core values, if you have the mindset, I like to think of it as a mindset. Same with haole. Haole, you know, we use as a derogatory term.
Yeah, I would say haole is like a mindset.
Yeah, but it's also a mindset. So when I see somebody doing something, I'm like, oh, look at that haole. I'm not saying look at that white person or foreigner. It's like they're just acting haole, you know?
Look at that haole.
Yeah, it's just like, even it's like somebody that does something, it's like, that's such a haole way to think. Hawaiian,
it could be,
it's just foreign, you know, it's a foreign thing. It's not natural to us here in Hawaii. Yeah. That's so haole, you know, like I see Hawaiian people acting haole all the time. It's like treating people like that's a haole way to treat people.
Littering at the beach. It's a lot of times it's the locals, you guys. It's not even the tourists.
Yeah, so when I think of somebody who is Hawaiian or who lives in Hawaiian ways, I think of somebody who, you know, lives through aloha, is kind, is respectful, lives with those core values. I think of our ancestors, and I look to them as like, that is a true Hawaiian. That is somebody who lived in aloha. I think Hawaiians are fearless. They're brave. Hawaiians are smart. I think that's something that
What else?
I think that's something that, you know, sometimes people forget, or we forget about ourselves, you know. We were wayfarers. We traveled the world. We were scholars. We had electricity.
Before the White House.
Before the White House. We had all these amazing things. I mean, one thing, like Liho in Kamehameha II, he was praised for his knowledge, for being akamai, you know. There's the one quote, Navai ho'i koleo ke akamai, he alai I maai ka hele e umauma kua, which means, like, you know, who wouldn't be wise on a path walked by our ancestors, our elders, our parents, because they paved the way for us, you know, like. When he was traveling, Liho was traveling in Europe, and they were just so surprised by his decision making, his how articulate he was, how intellectual he was. They were surprised, like, oh, this Hawaiian's smart. Oh, and then he says, of course I'm smart.
Duh.
Of course, because I walked on the path of my ancestors, because we were smart people, you know. So when I think of us, I think we're innovative, we're smart, you know, akamai, like we're just as capable as anybody else. In doing whatever we want. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what it to me means to be Hawaiian, is, you know, and to believe in yourself.
Right. I think there is a huge insecurity in Hawaii because we're so mixed that it feels almost competitive, strangely. Like, Hawaiians, I feel like when I see on social media, everyone's trying to one-up each other. I grew up Kula Kaiapuni, or I know Hawaiian better than you, or just like, I came from a long dynasty of, like, I came from the Kamehameha lineage. It almost, it's, I don't know if regressive is the word.
Well, yeah.
It feels really disheartening to see Hawaiians almost so, there's a competition, but there's also a big insecurity of Hawaiianness. What is Hawaiianness? Yeah. And I think I learned this during the Kukia'i Mauna, when all the TMT protests were going on, and I, up until that point, didn't feel very secure in my Hawaiianness. You know, like, I don't really have the opepe nose. Like, I look Asian compared to, like, my classmates growing up, or, like, my first language speaking was English, even though I went to Kula Kaiapuni. My first writing language was Hawaiian, so I didn't feel as Hawaiian as the people next to me who danced hula, or, like, did lei making or things like that. So I think I felt really insecure. And even you were saying, like, you try to stay away from the lo'i and, like, that kind of culture of Hawaii where it's like this is what I have to do to be Hawaiian.
To prove my
Yeah.
Hawaiianness.
It was like always proving when it came to me.
I mean, same. I've been to the same. I mean, like, I always wanted to be tanner.
Yeah.
So I'd look more Hawaiian, you know.
Right.
When I go some places, I have a little scruff. They're like, oh, you're Mexican.
Yeah.
Or they'll say you're Asian. I'm like, no, I'm Hawaiian. I want to be Hawaiian. Honestly, if I didn't speak the language, I'd be so much more insecure in my Hawaiianness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's the one, like, my trump card, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can look at me and be like, that guy is not Hawaiian. Look how he's dressed. Look what he's doing.
Rapping.
That guy's not Hawaiian. But then I'm always like, okay with that, because I'm like, okay, well, let's speak Hawaiian. Let's talk Hawaiian. Let's talk about our mo'okua hau.
Right.
Let's talk about, you know, the mo'aukala Hawaii. Like,
yeah.
So I'm just like, with that sense, I'm just like, okay, I got my shield and sword.
Yeah. And I think even with that, like, you say, like, Hawaiian is your trump card. There are Hawaiians who don't even have that, who look like us and who don't have the Hawaiian features and feel this deep sense of insecurity of, who am I? You know, I grew up in Hawaii. I went to a Hawaiian school, but I still feel insecure about being Hawaiian. And what you were saying, like, Hawaiian is a mindset, I totally believe that. And there is a lot of controversy of, like, people who say they're Hawaiian and don't have the blood, or, like, people who don't act Hawaiian but have the blood. It's this really, really weird environment to be in. But I feel like as long as you know who you are, that's what's important.
Yeah, I don't think you have to be something that you're not. I think a lot of people want what they can't have. So it's like you don't grow up with it, you want it. If you grow up with it, you don't want it.
Exactly.
But it's like, I lived in Madagascar for 3 years. I learned the language. I speak it. Miteni Malagasy, you know, I can speak it. But I'm not Malagasy.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, I'm Hawaiian, I'm Japanese, I'm Korean, I'm Kamaka, you know. I'm not Malagasy. I could live in their ways. I can think like them. I can speak like them. But that's mainly out of respect, because I want to be like them. I don't want to be them. And I think people have to realize that, like, yeah, you can come here, you can move here, you can do everything just like us. But I don't think people should be saying, like, I'm Hawaiian because of that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, you know, if we look at, you know, we go back and we look, and, like, a Hawaiian was somebody that did exactly what you're thinking. Okay, I get it. But it's also, I feel like, something you don't have to flex on anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't put on my bio, Olelo Hawaii. Like, I speak Hawaiian. Like, I wish it was so normalized where it was at a point where we didn't have to prove ourselves and be like, it was surprising to see somebody speak Hawaiian, to be 90% Hawaiian, you know? Because I see people, like, you know, they speak Hawaiian, and, like, it's almost like that's their party trick. That's what they put on their social media account, their Tinder profile, whatever. Like, I speak Hawaiian. Like, okay, cool. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we, like, you don't put, I speak English, right? Like, it's just because I do, yeah. Like, it's just because it's not normal.
Yeah.
It's something shocking. It's surprising. It's cool. I mean, yeah, it is cool. Like, you tell somebody you speak Hawaiian.
I think it's okay to be proud of it.
It's okay to be proud of it, but I don't think you should use it to, like,
it's
show
weapon.
off. Because Hawaiian at its core is ha'a. It's humble.
Yes.
Hawaiian people are not braggadocious. They don't show off. They're humble. They're humble people. So I just feel like that's always the contradiction when I see people who are very, like, out there with just, like, that. I just feel like that's not a Hawaiian thing. But that's also, to me, that's in my opinion.
Right.
People can have different opinions about it, because, you know, a lot of things in life, they're subjective. You know, maybe a Hawaiian to you is different than a Hawaiian to me. It's just like, I was talking to Jordan off this, and, like, people's levels of hard, you know. What's hard to you, the hardest thing to you is still the hardest thing to you.
Yeah.
You know, even though the hardest thing to me was, like, Peace Corps, getting surgery and whatever, maybe the hardest thing to you was, I don't know,
Hawaiian Airlines training, you know?
Like, really, there are different levels. The feeling of hard is still valid in the both of us. But, you know, just because, like, I would say, like, oh, well, my Peace Corps experience was harder than that, you didn't even know what I've been through. Like, that doesn't mean that what you had wasn't hard to you.
Yeah. And they actually teach you that when you come out of, I'm sure you had to go through training to come out.
Yeah.
Or
reintegration.
Reintegrate back into a first world society. And we had to go through that when I studied abroad. And we were only there for, like, 3 months. But it is really shell-shocking to come back from a culture who has you feel like has so little compared to what we have in America. Like when I was in South Africa, kids had jaundice everywhere you went. Or like, I'm sorry, I don't want to say that. A lot of the kids we were working with in the areas had jaundice. Like a lot of them were orphaned, things like that. And when you look at American problems of like, my charger's too short, or like, I can't find parking.
Yeah,
like
I waited 20 minutes for my food.
Yeah,
it's hard not to get annoyed by that. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah.
And that's pretty much what reintegration is. Is to just like
how to deal with everybody.
How to like deal with everyone whining about things that they shouldn't be whining about. But I mean, in the end, you just reintegrate back into that, and then you fall into that again.
Yeah, but I think with that, it makes you more empathetic.
Yeah. And
I think a lot of people don't have enough empathy. So at least, you know, when people are complaining about that, I'm like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Do I agree with it? No. I'm not going to get mad at you for it. Like I just said, hard is hard.
Right.
You know, that's still your hard.
Yeah. And I'll be the first to say I'm very dramatic, but I know when I'm being dramatic. I feel like admitting is the first step.
Yeah. Admitting is the first step. Yes. Showing that you're weak makes you strong.
Yeah. And yeah, that's something we could learn from one another. Definitely having empathy is a superpower.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah. So I think we should be wrapping up. We're almost 2 hours.
Okay, so now is when I want to talk about our new fantasy football segment, fantasy football with Kamaka Dias.
Okay, I'll be
here
stepping
on the
out.
Hawaiiverse. All right, yeah.
But before we end the podcast, I want to know what your life hack is, Kamaka. I know you really wanted to talk about this.
Yes, it's my favorite section. I love learning people's life hacks. I just wrote a bunch of things. I mean, okay, I'll share my own life hack after. But I thought this would be a cool segment just to share a bunch of different life hacks.
Okay, ready, speed round then.
Cool, okay? All right, so these are just things to know, okay? So you know the arrow next to the pump icon when you're driving? Like in your car? It indicates which side of your car you put the gas on. So if it goes down this way, it's on the left side. If it goes this side, it's on the right side.
The pointing arrow.
Yeah, exactly. So wherever it goes down to E, that's where your gas tank is.
Number one.
Okay, number one. Another one is when you're on an elevator, the floor with the star next to it leads outside. So if you're trying to figure out, where to go, just follow the lucky star.
I got stuck in an elevator once.
Yeah, I know.
That was kind of crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, number 3.
Okay, so when you're outside, this is a simple one that all of us can do. Something so simple that we probably don't think about. When you're outside on the beach, just flip your slippers upside down. So the bottom parts get hot and the top side stays cool. So, when you put it back on, it's like super hot.
Yeah.
Especially the rubber slippers. So just flip it over. It's super
or just
easy.
put it under the shade.
Or put it under the shade. Even emu it, put it under the sun.
Yeah, just bury it. Yeah. And then you can have a fun thing to look forward to after. Where did I bury my slippers?
Yeah. This is a good one that people can use when they're making their bed or like they just wash clothes. Putting your sheets on, make sure that the tag is on the bottom left or the bottom right, because that way it's always right. You know how you're always trying to like flip it and be like, oh, which is the right side up? The tag is also on the bottom left.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever learned that, but I just use that subconsciously as like, okay, that's where it's supposed to go.
That's smart. Some people like me just do a bunch of turns.
Or Sierra.
And Sierra. We just did that like a couple days ago. Okay, this is a cool one. When you can't make a decision, flip a coin, because your mind will start rooting subconsciously for the one you actually want. So say like you want a Korean chicken plate or you want a chicken katsu plate. I'm like, I don't know what. Heads is chicken katsu, tails is Korean chicken. So when I flip it, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm like, I hope it lands on tails, because I want Korean chicken.
I'm so indecisive.
So you can try this. So people who are indecisive, maybe try that out.
Right, or you could ask your partner and then completely do whatever opposite they say, which is what my boyfriend does.
Oh, yeah, or say like, we probably shouldn't eat this, but just get it anyways.
Zippy's or Taco Bell? Taco Bell. Okay, let's go to Zippy's.
Yeah. Here's one just for taking criticism. Don't take criticism from anyone you wouldn't take advice from. That's a good one to keep in mind. There's a lot of haters on the internet. Why would you listen to them if you wouldn't even take advice from them?
Maybe I should listen to my haters, though. Everyone has good perspective to learn from.
Haters are motivators sometimes. Okay, this is a super cool one. I just did this morning. Take your bananas apart when you get home, because when you leave them connected to the stem, they ripen faster. So if you split them up, they'll last longer.
Oh, what? Why?
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because they're connected to the stem. So if you take them out, it's like they can't. I don't know. They don't have as much nutrients. I don't know the science behind it, but that's just what I
well, then I can't believe you because you don't know the science.
Well, I read it on the internet, so it's true. Come on. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This is a very helpful one to reopen envelopes. You know how you like lick it and you close it and you're like, I forgot to put something inside.
Yeah.
So to reopen envelopes, place it in the freezer for an hour or two, and then boom, you can just open it right back up.
What?
Yeah.
How did someone figure that out?
They probably put it in the freezer.
They're like, dang it. Oh, I'm just gonna go put it in the freezer, I guess.
Yeah. Another one, when like if you're making strawberries, whatever, to remove the stem from a strawberry, just put a straw through it.
Oh, I've seen this.
It just takes it out.
5-minute
And
hacks.
then it's kind of crazy because strawberry. I didn't think about that.
That's why it's called a
That's
strawberry.
why it's called a strawberry, because people used to do that.
Wow. What is the origin?
I don't know.
I forget the word for that.
Yeah, and then maybe you're making strawberries in a smoothie and you're using a blender. Instead of trying to wash around it, put soap and water in the blender, turn it on, it washes itself. Just rinse it out and you're good.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah, me neither until I saw it on the internet.
These are like real life hacks.
Yeah.
Like, some people say really motivational, like be who you are, like be confident. Nope, put the soap and the water in the blender.
So I got some other ones. I'll share. Okay, the thing that made you weird as a kid might make you, or could be the thing that makes you great as an adult.
I love that.
Yeah.
I can totally, like, that is my thing, because I feel like as a kid I was so insecure and I hated how tall I was, and now I feel like that's the only thing that really sets me apart is like being the 6-foot giant on the plane in the tiny little 717 and everyone's staring at me with my 6'4" boots. That's what makes you special.
Exactly. Maybe you're like super into building Legos when you're a kid, and now you're just like the world's best architect.
Fun.
You know? So
I
like
feel
embrace your weird,
absolutely.
embrace the things that make you unique.
Really
Because
embrace your inner child.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's gonna make you. That's gonna take you far.
Right.
Yeah.
Buy all the Squishmallows you want, you guys. Watch anime.
Yeah.
Go play Pokemon Go in the mall. Don't look at your friends. Just look at your phones.
Okay now. Let's take it easy
now.
now.
Do what makes you happy.
Yes. Okay. And my own personal life hacks: sleep on it. If you're feeling angry, you're feeling upset, sad, something happens to you, go to sleep and see if you're gonna react the same way the next day. Because a lot of times we think emotionally, we react emotionally. I just want to send an email, text really quickly. Sleep on it. The next day, sometimes you might not even feel the same, and you'll just wash away and you'll get over it. So just sleep on it, and maybe it'll just pass on by.
That is really good advice.
And then another one I like to use, if you're tired, like during the middle of the day, you're like, yeah, should I take a nap? But I have a lot of things to do. Lie down for about 15 minutes. If you fall asleep, then that's good. Your body needed it. If not, you're good. Just get back up and finish what you got to do. And the last one, eat lihimui popcorn with chopsticks. If you don't want to get all the lihimui fingers.
That is a good
or
one.
Cheetos. Hot Cheetos.
One
One
more.
more? And Jordan's one. Do you want to come on and say this one?
No.
Okay,
Jordan,
Jordan one, he always like, this is my life hack. This is the one.
No, I just
Drive.
Because you keep
Is this ever going to end? I've been waiting. This is my moment.
This is his moment.
Drive with the radio off. That's Jordan's one.
What? Why?
Drive in silence. Because you can just, you think you have a lot of time to reflect and think about
That's
things.
a
When I
good
come to the
point.
podcast, I don't listen to anything. I just think about what I'm going to say. I think of new questions, think about how the conversation is going to go.
Oh, maybe I should have done that today. I was actually listening to the Alex Farnham podcast
nice.
episode on my way here, so it was homework.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Shoot,
Thank you for all 7,000 of those life hacks. I'm sure you could find more in this book, right?
Not that book.
Okay, maybe in another book.
It doesn't say it's life hacks, but I feel like you could learn a lot of
You
lessons.
could make like a coffee table book of just like a little manual, Kamaka's life hack.
Well, I do have, my first book idea is actually called Poop. There it is.
Let's just wrap it up now.
It's this book where it's like 365 facts to poop to, where basically I travel around the world and I just like accumulate the coolest facts from everybody, like super cool. Like, dolphins, dolphins, they play with pufferfish, like blowfish. They hit them back and forth, and they get high off of their toxins.
Oh, I actually knew this. Dolphins are kind of crazy.
Yeah, dolphins
are really
yeah.
nuts. Like, they do not
so
stop.
that book would just contain like all kinds of stuff like that.
Okay.
And you just read it on the toilet, and it's like,
poop, there it is.
Poop, there it is by Kamaka Dias.
But you can't say like, oh,
patent pending, don't steal
is.
it. Yeah, don't steal it from me. That's one of my ideas.
Maybe we shouldn't have talked about it.
Right, nobody's gonna be watching to this point.
Yeah,
this is
actually,
like the
this is
2 hour
just
mark.
like
Everybody's already stopped at like the hour mark, maybe.
Right. So this is just for us, honestly, and maybe our mom and dad.
Maybe let's talk crap about Ku now.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so
like
remember that one time Ku? Nah. Or we can talk about Lay or Micah.
Yeah.
Nah. All right. So let's wrap it up. Where can we find you? What's your address?
So it's 123. You can find me on. I mean, if you're watching this, you probably already know where I am. Kamaka Dias 8. I'm Kamaka Dias 8 on everything. That's what I.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, OnlyFans. Only feet. Still have to start that profile, but if you want feet pics, hit me up.
No one wants that, but anyway. Oh.
Oh, you're lucky. The camera cuts it off.
For free?
For free.
For free,
Full
Kamaka.
feet.
Oh, see, if you're just listening to this, you missed out. Kamaka gave out
Make sure in YouTube or Spotify to catch the visual.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, best luck to you on your next episode without me, because it's not going to be as funny, maybe, but it'll probably be more structured.
No, I love it. Mahalo for jumping in as co-host. And I just want to say mahalo to everybody for getting us here. 1 year. It's super cool. Shout out to Jordan, our videographer. He does a lot for us. Jared, Callie, Taylor, the rest of the Hawaiiverse crew. Patty here at Summit Media. I want to thank Min. Min, he's the heart and soul of our production over here. We wouldn't be able to record this without Min. Shout out to Min. Let's go surfing. We love you so much. I see you popped in and to see when we're going to end, so we'll end it right now for you, Min.
Sorry, man. I'll take credit for that.
Yes, and mahalo to everybody. Yeah. Check out our Patreon. We're at Hawaiiverse.com/podcast or patreon.com/Hawaiiverse Podcast.
Definitely do that. Thank you, Kamaka, for joining us as a guest today. We'll see you next time on the next Hawaiiverse episode.
No, you gotta read it. It's
okay.
It's
mahalo, Ray, for joining us on
No, that was the last episode.
I know. I just thought it was funny.
Okay, do it.
Mahalo, Kamaka, for joining us on the Hawaiiverse Podcast. Check us out on Hawaiiverse.com, the best place to support local. Spread aloha, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. New episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and you'll hear me next time on the Hawaiiverse Podcast. Ahui ho! Actually, my name isn't Kamaka, it's Kanoelehua.
And then you got a fist pump. Okay, nice.